started. Does anyone want to get out?
Everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Friday Night Frenzy. We got a good episode here, a full house for you. Let's bring them all in. First off, I'm going to start off with a new clip that I just did.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Hey man, how you doing? Welcome, Shion, a very frequent guest of this. We're happy to have you.
Yep, always glad to be here, Nick.
All right, and then next up is...
Hey, it's me. Prove it. You're a dick. Okay.
I'll try to ignore that.
Hey, buddy!
Try to ignore that.
I bet you were like...
As long as I'm the Wolverine in that clip, I'm fine with that.
So did you, were you pretty sure, oh, he's using a new intro?
I thought, okay, so since you said you were using new clips, I was like, oh, no.
Well, there are some old ones. Like, for example, we got this one.
And I have my mind, and a mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone.
Hey,
Perfect.
Chris, how you doing? There is one more member of this posse we gotta bring in, and it's a fan favorites of everyone.
I don't care.
All right. Nix, how you doing?
Pretty good.
All right, everyone's favorite JoJo fangirl. So let's start this off life. Just how you guys doing? What you been playing? We're gonna start from Chris, and then kind of go to Nix, Jared, and then Shion. So, Chris, how you doing, buddy? What you been playing?
What have I been playing? I've been playing Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Unfortunately,
unfortunately, that's a really good game.
Whoa.
No. So, what bothers me about Tears of the Kingdom is it has a really great foundation. Like the whole systems-based designs are insanely good. It's enough to drive a game designer, insane. And I was one for 10 years, and still there are things in there that just blow my mind. But their UX is so frustratingly bad that there are times where I swear to God the game is trolling me.
Probably is.
I want to make I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to make a compilation because the crappy Switch's 30-second limitation for its recording. But I'm going to do a montage of all of the things that this game has trolled me with, starting with those god-awful implementations of the Sage's skills, where it's, oh, look, I just killed a Gleeok, and I run over to it, and you're going to hear Benny Hill's yakety sax.
Don't talk back.
I go to run over to it to loot it, but guess what? Tulin just happened to fly by me, and I accidentally sent a gust, and all of those Gleeok components that I'm just about to reap, just got blown down a mountainside, and I can't find any of them.
Dude.
And as much as I love the game to death, because there's just so much to explore, and there's definitely going to be a lot of lore to parse through, it's definitely one of those things where I don't know what it is with the current Zelda team, but they really need to work on their writing.
Oh God, yeah. Have you seen
story,
all 18 movies?
And I get it. It's probably because of the non-linearity. There's only so much that they can work on building up something, but the writing has definitely been lacking on the end.
Don't you realize that that the Zelda writing team have always come from the John Carmack school of game writing, where the philosophy is game writing, and Chris knows exactly what I'm about to say. Story in a video game is like story in adult film. You expect it to be there, but it's not that important. Chris, you know that exact quote. You've heard that.
Yes.
That's a great quote.
Well, speaking of story, the thing that bothers me is I have all 18 memories or videos or whatever. I know where Zelda is. I know where I've literally interacted with Zelda. and yet I have missions
Yeah.
called "Find Zelda's Whereabouts," and dialogue is like, "I have no idea where she is," and it's like, dude,
Let's
I'm
find her.
literally like, here's the Will Smith meme. Like,
Yeah,
wait.
I actually did
I
that
like.
too.
So when you get those missions, you're like,
exactly,
Yep.
exactly, and they like the whoever did the continuity for the narrative direction forgot to include all that stuff because there are bits in there where like Pura, the hot little scientist or big scientist
oh
lady,
yeah.
she's all like, oh, like you already did all of this stuff and you just sat there and let me
Whoa.
say it all, and I'm like, yeah, because you didn't let me talk.
See Miyamoto and Edgy going over the script. They'd be like,
Crap, mega crap.
oh, I'm just having fun. I'm having fun.
Oh
But
yeah.
like, yeah, I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom yet. Mostly because everything I hear just kind of turns me off. Like, there's like the big building mechanic, and like you see all the videos of people creating like these amazing like Gundam contraptions, and then and like hearing how much of a key component that is. I know that if I play it, I'm gonna be like absolute crap at it, or like I try creating contraptions and they're like crap. I'm gonna feel bad,
Well,
because
the
I'll have
thing
like
about it is that the building is only as much of a key component as you require it to be. Because I've
Yeah.
basically been
I've avoided it.
cheesing. I wouldn't say cheesing my way through, but I've definitely been working around all of the different quote unquote required building sections because basically if you know what you're doing, sometimes you can Skyrim it, and sometimes there's just multiple ways to solve a puzzle.
Yeah, I
Yep.
love the idea of solving like that. That's when I started getting a little upset with some of these the new shrines or whatever. Was part not all of them, because a lot of the new shrines, in my opinion, are better than the ones from Breath of the Wild. But there are some, and they first of all, they've overused the Raru's gift one, where you basically get a freebie. You walk in and it's like, yay, you completed it, and I'm like, wait a minute, I came here for a shrine. What the hell is this? But
Yeah.
yeah, usually like a lot of the shrines in Breath of the Wild, when they did like they just gave you ones. It's mostly like you had to do like some sort of puzzle or complete a quest, and then that was a reward, and that was fine.
Yeah, I totally agree. And these, it was like all I did was walk in a cave and here it is. Like there was no like challenge. I get in there and I just see like the background with that weird green wavy shit, and I'm like, oh boy, I guess there's no puzzle here to solve. But like some of them, like that whole multiple solutions to a puzzle thing was absolutely genius in Breath of the Wild. I loved that. I loved feeling smart. I loved it where the designer said, here's how we think you should do it, but you can find other ways around that. And that was like, wow, that's awesome. I got like the genius moment, like that.
Yeah, I think
that's my power fantasy.
That's kind of the genius of Breath of the Wild, in my opinion, is the ingenuity of it. Like, I love Breath of the Wild. Like, Breath of the Wild is a great game. Like, and it's one of those games where it's like, yeah, you complete it, and like for example, you can you can go to Ganon's tower right away and defeat Ganon literally with a freaking stick and a pot lid if you want to. It can be hard. Like it feels like Breath of the Wild is a game that respects your intelligence.
Yep.
Like oh, you want to go straight to Ganon and fight him? It's gonna be nigh impossible, but hey, go for it, bro.
Yeah.
You use Slugger.
Yeah, in Tears of the Kingdom, though, I have found scenarios where it's like, I thought I was doing something smart, and they put in like anti-cheesing measures, or like they did something, and it's like, oh, so this is the only way that you're going to solve this one.
Yeah,
and
it's like people are, like, see, that's why I don't want to play Tears of the Kingdom, because like you got to play it like Tears of the Kingdom. You can't play it like Breath of the Wild. It basically, and I don't really have no interest.
Yeah.
So Nix, how you doing?
Pretty good.
What you been playing?
Tears of the Kingdom. It's a Mario Party. I got Mario Party Superstars for my niece and I to enjoy. And
could you get a little bit closer to the mic, please? You're a little low.
I got Mario Party 8 Superstars for my niece and I, and we've been enjoying that too, on and off. She's getting a lot better at the mini games, which is really good because it makes her feel better. But yeah, it's mostly been Tears of the Kingdom for me too. And yeah, I'd say my problems are about the same. Was it like it's a great game? I love it. that might be the Zelda fan in me talking, but I do genuinely love it. But I'm not blind to its issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
But yeah, like I'm not trying to take away from like I know a lot of people love it. I'm not trying to take that away. I'm just like, hey, personally, it doesn't interest me. That's how I try to like phrase it.
like the building mechanic, I enjoy it. You know, I like seeing how far I can take things, but I'm not very creative. Like I'll see, like you were saying, a whole bunch of these giant freaking Gundams, and I'll be like, oh man, that'd be cool to make. But then I'm like, I'm happy with my little cart.
Yeah, it's very disheartening. Yeah. Before we move on, hello, Ashes. How you doing? What you got going on today? Thanks for joining us. And so Jared, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. And Nick, if you ever do play that game, I want you to make a mech and then do a Twitter post saying you're canceling the apocalypse. So I've just been playing some straight up Halo Infinite campaign. That's about the only part of the game that's actually worthwhile. And that's one of those games where they went into it saying, "Oh my gosh, live service! You're going to get so much content." Where's the content you promised me? Because you're not even giving me split screen multiplayer. That's fine, split screen multiplayer.
Ah, yes. The Halo Infinite dilemma of we were going to give you this, but we decided we were too lazy to actually follow through. So here's this instead.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
but I
so
want
basically,
this.
guys, I got footage of Jared last night.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
And besides that, I've been thoroughly enjoying watching Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
Oh, nice. What's your 20-second review of that one?
It's one of the best Transformers movies that have ever come out for live action. Like, fantastic. They managed to make the G1 designs look cool and work in a live action movie.
But does it have the touch?
Yes, and it even has the power, Nick. It really even has the power. And they integrate the Beast Wars characters really well in that movie.
Do they kind of include the Beast Wars theme of do?
No, they don't. They don't.
I also just realized something humming that intro sounds actually like a lot like the Sailor Moon theme too.
And it's kind of funny. Someone made an edit of the trailer for of like the intro for Beast Wars, but all the clips are from Rise of the Beasts.
Ooh. You're gonna have to link me that one, Jared.
I'll send it to you. Don't worry about it.
So, Shion, how you doing?
Honestly, not too bad. I've just been kind of working around the apartment, getting that settled. I actually found my old 2DS XL, my Hylian Shield variant, and it had Ocarina of Time in it. So I've been playing that. I've also, of course, been playing Tears of the Kingdom. My complaints for it stand. It's a really good game. It's really solidly built, but the writing department is very much lacking. I wish they would continue to iron that out. And outside of that, I've also been playing Metroid Dread, which has been an absolute joy.
Yeah, that's one of the best Metroids, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm much more of a fan of the Metroid Prime kind of layout. I like that.
Yes.
For that 1.5 person shooter for Metroid. However, I have to say, Dread is probably one of the coolest games that I have ever had the pleasure of playing.
Question: have you played Samus Returns?
Yes.
Because Dread was made by Mercury Steam, and it's basically using the same engine from Samus Returns, which actually is like the Castlevania Mirror of Fate engine. That's the whole reason they got that gig in the first place. So, but if you play Returns, it feels like a rougher Dread.
Yeah, no, I actually played Returns first, which is why I was able to adapt to Dread so easily.
Yeah.
Although my favorite version for Metroid 2, because that's what Samus Returns is
AM2R.
actually the one that you're not Nintendo doesn't want you to
AM2R.
play.
Yeah, AM2R, dude, that is awesome. Yeah, I got that
AM2R
one.
is phenomenal.
Yeah. The one that is sure to have Yamaguchi rise from your grave. Also, can I give a shout out to myself for doing a Nintendo thing by quoting a Sega game? Like,
right.
So as for myself, I started playing a bunch of Final Fantasy 14 at the behest of Frostfire Flame on Twitter. She would not stop bugging me about it, so I was like, okay, fine. And yeah, I'm kind of enjoying it. Been questing with people, just kind of doing the free trial version. Might probably gonna sub to it come the first. But yeah, it's been really good, and like they just announced a new expansion. So yeah, if anyone wants to do some MMOing, hit me up on FF14.
I'd say I would, but I've already promised like a whole bunch of other of my IRL friends I'd do like DDO and Final Fantasy 14 too, and it's just like I have so little time already considering what else I am also doing that it's like I keep making these promises. I really should not make them. I really shouldn't.
Yeah. Why are you doing that, bro?
Because I want to be a good friend and I want to be there for all of my friends, and I have to realize that I also have to live my own life and do my own projects too.
So what you're saying is it's your life, it's now or never?
Yes.
You ain't gonna live forever?
Oh, absolutely. I am Bon Jovi in this statement.
It's my life. Okay, enough bad singing. So yeah, so now that we've kind of got like the very boring introductions out of the way, let's go. Oh, Chris, you want to say something?
Oh, I can't wait for what's coming next.
All right, Ubisoft sucks. All right, there's a stream, everybody. All right,
Ubisoft.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
All right,
good night, everybody.
Yeah, I worked for that company, man. Like, there's no surprise there.
Yeah, so Chris, I'm sure you got some tea you're gonna spill, so it's gonna be great. All right. Yeah, we have inside information here today, so that's what you're getting here, people. So Ubisoft recently announced, and I heard some like conflicting reports. Apparently, I guess there's before I go any further, hey Phil, you came in just at the right time. Hey buddy, yeah, I love that guy. But like so Ubisoft announced that if you don't log into your Ubisoft account in 30 days, you're gonna lose your games that you paid for. Like,
oh.
Yeah,
like,
big surprise there that they pulled that kind of stunt.
And it's important to know this even applies to your Steam library.
Yeah, because when you buy a game on Steam, you're technically buying them on Ubisoft. And if you ever play an Ubisoft, like this is why I own Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, but every time I do, I have to play it through Ubisoft, and it's like, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I honestly wonder when consumers, especially, but also just these companies who do these online storefronts are going to learn that, if you start taking people's games away from them, they're going to find other resources to get their fix.
Oh,
yes, it's why I emulate.
You mean like a topic that we're going to be discussing here in a little bit?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be of the Caribbean, if you catch my drift.
Yes, no, like
very subtle, Jared. Thank you.
You don't even need to like. I've done this with with Street Fighter V, for example. When Street Fighter V came out, it was a full priced game, and it didn't even have an arcade. Well, it didn't have an arcade mode. You literally spent $60 on a freaking game that didn't even have a single player component.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I spun up some. I'm not going to tell you what I did. But basically, I modded the hell out of Street Fighter V because it was built on the Unreal Engine, and you can actually decompile their. I can't remember what the extension files are called, but basically they're like glorified DLLs. And I was able to actually put in my garbage bogus front end, and I leveraged their multiplayer versus PC. Or basically, what I did was I wrote a script that randomly chose based on the character that you chose. Like, do you want to play arcade mode, hard, medium, or whatever? And I set up kind of a roster of AI controlled opponents to sequentially select after you defeated each one. I couldn't get in scores or any of that stuff because none of that code was exposed, but I was able to actually get a modded version of arcade mode into that game. And that would be considered part of the the YAR stuff.
So what you're saying is Chris does what Cap can't.
Dude, well, it's just infuriating that like people are willing to put up with this crap. Like games as a service is the biggest scam in the world. Like
I think people are really getting tired, like sick and tired of the games as a service. And I also kind of believe like the reason why we're starting to see a lot more money grifting tactics is I believe some of it's desperation. I feel a lot of these companies see where things are going. Like they see the contraction of the AAA industry. They're trying to just get as much money as they can. Like they already know the ship is sinking. So they're just trying to grab as many minnows as they can before the ship really goes under. You know, I mean, who cares if it hastens the demise? You know, the end is here. And like I'm just paraphrasing, trying to go thing.
But the other thing that I wanted to bring up is that all those people that are upset about, like, let's say, in-game monetization practices and all that with like games as a service, I got news for you. We're partially responsible for this practice becoming so ingrained by continually to buy the games, because I guarantee you if we didn't buy like Battlefront 2, that would send a clear like note to these people. If we didn't pre-order any of this crap, then they would go, okay, you know what, the people hate this.
I got one thing to say: never should have bought the horse armor. like that's what it all started. That's basically
well the thing is they got so much flack for that. Like they got there was so much pushback for that. Like,
but they didn't. They were playing the long game and they won. Microsoft destroyed the video game industry by when they created the Direct Xbox. They set up. Granted, they had some of the most amazing online matchmaking and services and all that stuff. But it's like, so did Steam, so did Valve. But like. They were doing the recurring monthly fees to access shit that you shouldn't like at the time. A lot of their games were peer to peer. Their multiplayer was peer to peer. They didn't even have hosting, which meant that they basically put a paywall down. They lowered the toll booth arm so that you couldn't connect to the guy's console that's sitting next to you. Like that was their idea of providing you service, was lifting that toll booth arm.
Yeah, because you can make a justification for paying a monthly fee if you're getting like dedicated servers, security, good infrastructure. Like that was the whole selling point of Xbox versus PS3, because like the whole PS3 stuff was free, except it was an inferior service for the longest time, and then the hack happened, and that brought even more. Like I think the hack was probably one of the greatest things that happened to Microsoft's internet stuff. Because in a lot of people's minds, whether justified or not, it justified, this is why I pay $50 a year for games of gold, so that doesn't happen.
Well, that's also why I leveled this not only at the the storefront providers, but also at us, the consumers, because we're the ones who would go out and pay for the DLC or buy the pre-orders or buy the subscription, and because it was more content, and we didn't vote with our wallet and say, okay, if you're going to charge us an arm and a leg for something that you charged us normally for beforehand, we can just go and play that and ignore what you were setting out until you actually fix your crap.
The other thing is, I think that if they were releasing games also in a completed state, in other words, you didn't have 8,000 patches, I don't think necessarily, I could be wrong on this, but I don't think the games as a service thing would have been, there wouldn't have been so much backlash, because when you think about it, players are like, okay, so you're going to charge us for all of this on arm and a leg, exactly, but you're not even going to give us a completed product.
Well, the thing is, the whole games as a service leads to that as a matter of course.
Oh, that's true.
The games as a service model, just in general, leads to developer laziness, or leads to at least allowing for what's the word?
Incompetence.
Incompetence, but it's also just continuing to push the line of what they have to put in. So they spend more time putting in useless mechanics and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, you're an
Ubisoft delay tactics.
You're a former Ubisoft dev. You know, Chris, like you're totally used to useless mechanics because Ubisoft is really, I think, like I was actually watching a Raise This Fist video earlier today about like Death of Open Worlds.
Yep.
And Ubisoft is really the progenitor of like a lot of the crap we have with open worlds were pioneered by Ubisoft. Because Ubisoft in their open worlds, in like the Assassin's Creed and the Far Cry, they do what I like to call the illusion of content. Oh, you gotta climb the towers. Oh, you gotta find this. Like it's just mindless, busy work.
Collections isn't content.
There was also that with the Ghost Recon series, because remember, Wildlands and Breakpoint were the first like open world, truly open world Ghost Recon games, and yeah, you could play around in that for like a couple of hours. Fortunately, I think Wildlands, they gave you like a metric crap ton of actual meaningful stuff to do, but with like games like Breakpoint, when you log into there, it's mostly like busy work, and if you try and skip the busy work, like in the Assassin's Creed games, you essentially get penalized because you'll be severely underleveled.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's why games like Assassin's Creed 4 are still talked about today, because Assassin's Creed 4 really broke the mold of the Assassin's Creed game. Like basically, Assassin's Creed 4 is Ubisoft's Ubisoft Wind Waker. Like when games make traversal a core game, like Assassin's Creed 4, Wind Waker, even Spider-Man, when they make traversal a just as fun as the rest of the game, that's when you know a game is special. Like in Black Flag, sailing your pirate ship is fun. Like even like just hearing the shanties, like you'll run across things, like the ship battles. It's engaging. And like they tone down the Assassin's Creed stuff. Like that's why everyone says, yeah, Black Flag is a great pirate game, but a crappy Assassin's Creed game, and that's fine.
Well, the problem though is Black Flag wasn't even originally a Assassin's Creed game. In fact,
you worked on Black Flag, didn't you?
No, I did not work on Black Flag. I came in after that. But I will say that the pirate ship and the nautical stuff was actually in Assassin's Creed 3. You got on the Aquila and you sailed across New England around the East Coast and stuff. But like it was a prototype. Like they didn't they got their hands dirty or their feet wet, but they didn't go like into the deep end until Black Flag. But they had another game that was actually launched at the same time as Black Flag that was on
What up, Master Sergeant?
What's up, dude?
It was on an older console. That was on the 360 and the PS3, which fully embraced. It was more Assassin's Creedy essentially than Black Flag, but it utilized the same pirate ship mechanics.
What is it, Rogue?
Yeah, I think it was Rogue.
I thought that was the Vita title. I thought that was like the portable version.
No, Rogue came out as a console game.
Yep.
Actually, I wasn't fully aware of this. Apparently, Rogue came out in line with, if not just before, Black Flag.
Yep.
Like they were companion pieces. They were two halves.
They didn't feel comfortable enough thinking that Rogue would stand on its own, especially after the sacking of people who actually created Assassin's Creed around that time. Once Patrice got fired twice, you knew the Assassins were dead. But I think the real writing on the wall was how horrifically they ham-fisted and wrapped up that god-awful Desmond ending, because Desmond was supposed to be your meta story, and once he died, Assassin's Creed died.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because like they had to do the hand wave, like, oh, we're using Desmond's DNA. That's the whole reason we can do Assassin's Creed 4.
Mm-hmm. They started breaking the rules too.
Honestly, I feel like either they planned for Assassin's Creed 3 to be the end point, or they basically were just like, well, crap, we don't know what to do anymore. We'll just kill off Desmond because nobody cares anymore.
Okay, so little T here. Desmond represented the last of the contribution of the old guard. And when the new narrative team, and I'm not going to name names because even if it doesn't get to this person, You know, I guess it's bad form.
It's good form. It's good form.
Yeah.
So there was kind of a coup of a sense where it was a shuffling of people and a bunch of dick measuring, and essentially, like I sat in on some of these narrative design meetings. And basically, when we see Assassin's Creed Japanese themed Sengoku or whatever they end up calling it, that's when they threw their Hail Mary and they're done.
Yeah, because like that's the one thing that everyone has been demanding is Assassin's Creed Japan.
Yep.
That would work so well.
So there's already I actually worked on some of the narrative bridging between was it Ashes? I think that's what it was called, The Death of Ezio. They made a cool cinematic showing Ezio Auditore's exit and the entry.
I remember seeing that. That was so cool.
Well, if you recall, there was an entry character called Xiaojun, and Xiaojun was Chinese, and she took the Apple of Eden with her to China. Well, let's just say that all that Eden stuff actually goes over to Japan through Xiaojun.
Yeah, and I think they kind of dropped like the ball on that stuff easily.
Oh yeah. They like, who knows what, like one of the characters I had given the name to was Taka. I can't remember what his last name was, but basically kind of a nod is that every main playable character in Assassin's Creed, and this may have changed, but every main playable character, their name literally meant like eagle or like bird of prey. Like Altair means eagle in Arabic. Ezio is Italian for eagle. Ratanakataka, name that nobody can pronounce, meant eagle. So everybody just called him Connor because nobody could understand what the hell, like the Mohawk name. It's like, dude, how do you pronounce a colon?
That's why. That's why when it comes to Assassin's Creed, especially those early games, like the eagle iconography is so important to the series.
Yep, exactly. Like everything was bird of prey themed. Like
that was not only that, it's also the idea that in most cultures, eagles or at least birds of prey were often heavily symbolized with freedom or connotated with freedom.
Yep.
You can't take this guy from me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the theme song to Firefly. But but
also, before we go any further, hey Anthony, thanks for joining us.
Hey.
Yeah,
So with Black Flag, it's the kids love this. Like they're gonna do like a Sid Meier's Pirates kind of thing, and they're like, but let's just throw the assassins, branding on there, and it'll get the kids to love it, And they're like, from that point forward, it's not Assassin's Creed. You could throw whatever name you want on it. It's not Assassin's Creed. But everything prior to that, like, it's really frustrating because, like, one of the ones that I really enjoyed, or at least the aesthetic, was the French Revolution they did for Unity. And that was when the new narrative team's garbage got put in, where they're like, it's not the meta about the Assassins versus the Templars anymore. It's not about the precursors. It's not about... In fact, there's a Templar who falls in love with an assassin, and that's in this person's DNA or whatever. And it's like, God, you're muddying the waters. Like, there's a reason why Shakespeare made his story simple to understand. Like, you can't preach Shakespeare to the freaking monster truck crowd.
I think currently with Assassin's Creed, it's all about like Isu artifacts, like and all that crap.
Oh yeah, they made up all sorts of new MacGuffins. But like, I remember being in a meeting and they were discussing. So they read some of our narrative treatments. And they're like, well, we don't want to make it so that every episode or every game is like a piece of Eden of the week. And it's like, well, why not? Well, because that just seems very
literally
cheesy.
What made the game so much fun was hunting down the Templars and hunting down the pieces of Eden.
Yeah, well, like for example, Excalibur, the legendary sword of Arthurian myth.
Yeah,
that was a piece of
Yeah.
Eden. And one of the kind of the narrative treatments that I had worked on, and I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day, so I'm happy to spill the beans, was we actually had a Assassin's Creed set in the Barons War. So it was set during the Barons War in Great Britain. And you basically, Prince John, and like it's a thing, a lot of like it's a British history, but it was basically the story of the real historical Robin Hood.
Oh, Prince John and Richard the Lionheart and all that.
That would have made for like a Robin Hood Assassin's Creed game. Actually would have made for a really like that would have been a really good like
that would
hell
have been so awesome. I would have
played that.
screamed, "Shut up and take my money" over that.
Well,
and like
so
imagine
I-
like Prince and then like the sheriff of Nottingham as a Templar.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it's worse than that. It's Prince John has Excalibur, and that's how he asserts. Yeah, the Piece of Eden. It's the same way that Pope Rodrigo.
So you'd be combining Arthurian legend with Robin Hood.
Yes.
Shut the F up and take my money.
It was all about the founding of the Magna Carta, which is basically the precursor to the American Constitution. You know,
America.
Yeah, and like that's where we, so we could tie it into Connor's story.
We were robbed, freaking blind. Like, dear God, this is what we could have gotten.
Yeah,
well,
but they didn't want to do
it. Sequels that we were robbed of that would have been phenomenal. We could sit here and grumble all day. Unfortunately, it's just kind of one of those things that happens in the game industry.
I'm still salty about Dinosaur Planet. Like,
plus, Nick, what you have to understand is that according to these people, the fans don't know what they want.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times 343 has said that about the Halo fandom. I'm like, yeah,
okay.
We do know what we want.
I'm about to say something that's going to make every World of Warcraft fan cringe. You think you do, but you don't.
Dude, I'm not even a World of Warcraft fan, and I still am really upset about that because that just kind of... Because not only are they saying that about Warcraft, they basically say that about all video gamers.
Well, for those who weren't aware, this was like basically that was said. So during the Warlords of Draenor expansion, that was really when the classic movement really started to take steam. And someone asked the question, and I can't remember who it is. It was like the ponytail guy. He's like, you think you do, but you don't, and like said all these reasons. And 3 years later, he's the one who announced Classic, so that was some humble pie for him. But like,
yeah, after they shut down Nostalrius, which was really, really popular, and
I think that was after
about that.
Yeah, Nostalrius was kind of the fire on dry kindling kind of moment. Like that was where the movement really took off.
Well, for me, what really bothered me was the whole Blitzchung thing, and after that, I uninstalled BattleNet, and I'm kind of glad I did because everything that I've seen Blizzard do after my uninstallation has justified that action. I mean, they destroyed Overwatch. They literally stole the game from everybody who purchased it. Again, games of service is a scam. You can't play Overwatch 1 anymore. You fire a BattleNet, which is the only gate you can go through to play the stupid game, and it's now Overwatch 2 with their god-awful monetization crap saddled in. There's no illusion of progression anymore, so they broke the core gaming loop. And it shows, like, because like they can't take designs from a certain other company, Red 5 Studios, that actually worked on the shooter designs. So all of their newer characters and stuff are probably designed by an art team instead of by a design team, and it shows because a lot of these characters are busted.
And remember,
real quick, so I just posted a link in private chat. Could someone pull it up and share it because like the sound isn't really working on my
and real quick, remember that this is the same company that also said when asked if like Overwatch 1 players will still be able to play their game, he said, "Oh yeah, sure, of course."
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm pulling it up, Nick. Just give me 1 second.
This is the J. Allen Brack thing where he's like,
it's you've got to see how cringy, like the arrogance of it. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sharing, Nick.
All right, yeah, check this out, guys.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No.
It's the arrogance.
And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't. Remember when you had to like...
All right, you can cut it off.
Cities and say...
like the arrogance. The arrogance. The only thing worse, the only thing more arrogant was... You guys don't have phones?
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, who in their right mind?
Well,
like, I get they said it off the cuff, but like, how narcissistic do you have to be to have that be like a I'm sure they didn't think it through when they said that. But how narcissistic you have to have that be your first response without thinking?
Dude,
Yeah,
not only are they
seriously.
so high off of their own farts, but one of the most disillusioning moments for me when I got into that industry was how much contempt these people had for not only their product, but for their customers. Like
Yes.
I worked in community. I was a community manager at one point for my very first gig. And like, this is before Kickstarter came out. So these guys did online panhandling. These guys, stuck out their tin cup asking for change, asking for money. People donated. We set up a forum to discuss our product, which at the time was an indie game, Project Offset or whatever. But
Okay.
they got on there, and I'm in the forums, moderating because I don't want prawn or anything in there or whatever. And people are like, "Hey, it's been 6 months. Has there been any updates?" So I relay back to the founders. I'm like, "Hey guys, we got some buzz on our forums. Do you think we can throw them some breadcrumbs or throw them a bone or two? About what are we doing? Blah blah blah." And basically, I gotta fuck them. Like that, we don't care. Screw those guys. Like I'm like, they're the ones that are the reason why we're here.
They're
like,
your customers.
Like,
mean,
I'm gonna say this point blank. I would literally not be running this show right now. I would not be talking to you guys. I would not have 3 comic books funded, like 4 really. I would not have all my success without my audience. So, you guys are awesome. Thank you, and you matter. So I'm drawing a line in the sand here.
Yeah, and honestly, the whole idea of the customer is always right. I'd like to kind of amend that. Your audience is always right. Not necessarily the people who are commenting on your stuff, but your audience, the people who are there supporting you, know your stuff, constantly engages with what. I mean, honestly, how often has Zelda Twitter, my freaking profile pic, blown up because of stupidity at Nintendo? And granted, Nintendo usually is pretty good about mitigating that stuff and either fixing it in their next game or at least releasing like a free patch for that
Yeah,
sort of
like
stuff.
Twilight Princess was like, "Oh, you guys want a mature Zelda game? Fine, we'll give you a mature Zelda game."
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like there are some companies that understand how to work with their audience, but it seems to be a very rare thing nowadays.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I kind of want to the wording you used, work with the audience, because you're not beholden to your audience. Your audience doesn't order you around. Because yeah, sure, there's some times where it's like you have an idea and the audience doesn't know it until they see it. We see it all the time with Apple devices. But on that, it's a balance. But you've got to listen to your audience. But when your audience is screaming, "We don't want this," don't do it.
I think a fantastic example of even collaborating with the audience was, and I'm going to bring up Halo again, was Bungie back in the day. Because actually what's interesting, when Rooster Teeth started doing Red versus Blue, they fully expected Bungie to send them a cease and desist letter. But Bungie was like, "Oh no, that's awesome. We're glad that you're engaging with the content." And Bungie went to great lengths to cultivate a loyal, diehard community of followers. Contrast that with 343, where they're like, "Yeah, you may think you want that, but you don't." Nick, I literally heard that from 343's mouth. Literally.
You're God. Didn't Bungie go so far as to give Rooster Teeth special tools to help make their stuff even better? Yeah, 2000s Bungie was amazing. Even I'm not even a fan, and I respect that.
And I think the thing that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nix.
Because they recognize that you take care of your fans and they will buy your stuff. Because what they're building, what these companies don't realize, when you take care of your audience, that builds the number one thing any business wants. That's customer loyalty.
Like take Valve and Steam. Steam is another perfect example of this, where Valve, even to this day, is very big on customer interaction. The way they handle all their games, the way they handle fan games. There's a reason why Valve fans are very loyal. There's a reason why people don't want to move on from Steam. And it's because Valve and, by extension, Gabe Newell care about their audience.
One thing I'd like to add though about like so it's very difficult from the other side of the fence when it comes to listening to fans, because you've got a crowd, this cacophony of voices shouting at you, and it's really difficult to parse out who your customers are and who are your vocal Twitterites or your vocal social media.
Yeah,
so
that's
like
true.
you don't want to listen to the Tumblerinas telling you that like you got to get rid of all your straight white men because
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what's led us into the mess we're in now.
Well,
like,
it also comes to a point of know your audience.
Yeah, but it's also like I think you had mentioned respect, which some of the best advice I ever got in business was don't ever give anybody an excuse not to buy your product. And when you're publicly facing, you're interfacing with your fans, you're interfacing with your not fans, you're interfacing with the public in general. You're a brand, whether or not you want to, you like that or not. You are a representation of your product. And if you have shitty technical, like customer support or public relations, and like somebody's like, I don't like, for example, my comic book, I don't like Infinity Chronicles because Elves are gay and shit. It's stupid. Like I can't go and jump on Twitter, reply to that comment, and get into a flame war with some douchebag shit poster because they hated my product.
Chris, I gotta pause you, Jared. There's something I know you heard what he just said, and I know there's something you want to say, so just say it.
Wait, what?
Or did you just listen to what Chris said?
No, but I'm trying to ascertain what do you think I want to say?
I'm pretty sure you want to tell me I told you so.
Oh yeah, I told you so.
But
yeah,
honestly, here's the thing.
Yeah,
can I explain this? I've been telling Nick this for so long, particularly in his in like the position as a content creator or a comic book writer. You can't get into arguments with people on Twitter, even if it's something that even if you think you know the answer to what they're saying, because when you do that, it makes you look like a troublemaker, and then less people are willing to buy your product, and less people are, and fewer other larger creators are willing to market your product.
Yes.
Well, it gives them an excuse not to buy your product.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly, Chris, you do not want to give the audience a chance. You really don't want to give the audience a chance to really hesitate per se on purchasing your product.
I'm just gonna flat out say I agree with you guys, and I'm doing everything I can to get better. But this is just this is me. Like, I'm not even disagreeing with you. I'm not fighting you on it. I'm just acknowledging you're right.
Yeah. Well, now Nick, as a natural follow-up with that, I have to wonder why AAA companies have adopted this Goodfellas attitude when it comes to marketing their games.
After you pay me.
Yeah, fuck you. Pay me.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Pay me.
Because please tone down on the curse words.
Sorry about that.
This is a Christian Minecraft.
That's literally a quote, though. But yeah, I apologize.
Yeah, just say like "F you, pay me, frick you." Like, this is a Christian Minecraft server.
And trust me, it's the same thing in the comic book industry, because when people have valid complaints about like a particular storyline or direction, or like hell with the Punisher, there are people that are like, okay, I hate this, and they're like, you're a far right, you know what? What do you know?
Well, it goes back to, like Kelly Sue DeConnick's quote there.
Oh God, I love that one.
Wait. Jared, can you pull up the clip and we'll play it?
Yeah, just the smugness in that voice alone is like you can't, even if you don't understand what she's saying and she's speaking a foreign language, that smugness alone is like, yeah.
And the worst part is, I don't necessarily disagree with her. It's just the way she said it and like the manner and presented it comes across as douchey.
It's not only that, but it's presenting a reason to not buy your product.
And what's
if you were to say, I'm sorry, but everybody has different political views. Unfortunately, I'm sorry you don't share mine, but I really appreciate, like I would still welcome you to at least give my product a chance.
And what's funny, by the way,
the way you Chris, you literally just said the exact same thing, but in a much better way. This is why you're successful.
And the funny part, by the way, is that this clip starts off a lot of EVS's shows, by the way.
Yes, it does.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved.
Okay. Wait.
I think I tend to be pretty optimistic, but in this one I'm worried. I'm straight worried.
The Always Sunny music just makes it so much better.
Absolutely.
It's the curve theme, yeah.
Phenomenal rate.
Just look how like sad she looks. Like there's just like her, she's slouched over. Like you can tell this woman has.
And
been
here's the
through
thing,
it.
you know it's bad when she tanked a Justice League member's book. She was on Aquaman at the time. Just want to tell you that right there.
Well, do you guys remember Frosk? Do you guys remember the grand opening, grand closing?
You mean when they
I4
tried?
TV?
You mean the non-starter for G4?
Yep. Yeah.
Hey,
Oh my God.
she's just mad that she's not as bangable as Olivia Munn.
Oh yeah.
Or like who's that other irrelevant dude who also hosted G4? He blasts people on Twitter.
Adam Sessler.
Yeah, Sessler also came out, and we're like, well, you two don't have jobs anymore.
Did you
Like,
guys
have you
of
guys gone
surprise
back
on
and like
Gerard?
watched some of like the classic X-Play reviews?
Yep.
Like Adam Sessler was always cringe. Like he was always this way. Like Morgan Webb is legit. Like she was always like, I respect Morgan Webb. You know, especially the fact like since then she's kind of like take a step back. Like Morgan Webb was always, I always respected her. But like Adam Sessler, no.
By the way,
Did you
Nick,
notice? Oh, sorry.
there's this fantastic clip. Well, I think it was when 300 was coming out. I want to try and make this clip for the show because Olivia Munn going, "Oh my gosh, it's Zack Snyder."
You
need that.
You need to do that.
Well, about Morgan Webb, do you notice she doesn't have a Twitter presence? Gee,
that's
perhaps
probably
because
why.
she's professional. Like she could totally be some wacko commie lefty or whatever that's like well past the realm of Stalin, but she's smart enough to understand that that's not a good business move.
And honestly, Morgan Webb always came across like the smart one.
Yeah, well, I hate to say it, yeah.
It's also his thing. You don't necessarily need to not have a Twitter thing to be professional on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because you have plenty of creators like Jim Lee, Jason Fabok, who are like,
Xevious.
oh no, Xevious. To a certain degree, it's like Gabe El Taib or something like that. They're like, hey, I'm here. If you like my product, you can buy it. I'm not telling you to think either way. Compare that to like Dan Slott or any of those individuals that
Dan,
will argue.
I block 80% of Twitter slots.
This is the hilarious part, is that I actually had a brief Twitter interaction with Dan Slott, by the way. Do you want me to tell this story?
Go ahead.
All right, so this was in reference to Peter Parker being married with a kid in the Spider-Verse movies, but not in the comics. Because you know how in the comics, Dan Slott like Peter to be single. So he brought up, so what he was saying is that I'm fine with Peter B. Parker in the Spider-Verse movies. I'm fine with Peter B. Parker being, married, but I think 616 Peter should be single. And I put in the comments, you do realize that in the movie they designate Peter B. Parker as 616 Peter, right? So you literally just contradicted your entire argument. Had you said movie Peter, then you could have had a point there.
Yeah, exactly.
And you see the mental gymnastics. He's actually arguing with his audience that Spider-Boy is somehow popular.
Yeah.
When you start arguing with your audience, I'm sorry, you have a problem.
Well, with all the AAA developers having that Goodfellas attitude and basically talking down to their audience, it's no wonder why the audience is turning towards emulation as a valid movement, even if it is a legal gray area.
What do we have here? I think we have a segue.
Hey, I'm good at making those.
There you go.
All right, and we're walking, and thank you, Shion. That was a literal perfect 10 segue.
Could not have asked for a better one myself.
Thank you, brother. So basically, this is kind of where we are, where obviously people like the game. That's not going to change. And if the modern gaming aren't being served, they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to take you back to the past to play the games that don't suck, If you know, you know.
Yep.
And if they can't get it through legal means, then an emulation life for me. And it's like, I'm gonna kind of start this episode, start this kind of segment. We're gonna do the kind of similar thing with like everyone's gonna go around, kind of give their personal like relationship with like emulation ROMs, like do they do it, how they do it, like what they use to play it on, and just kind of their feelings on the matter. We're gonna start with Chris, then Nick, Jared, then Shion. So Chris, what is your personal relationship with emulation and ROMs?
Should I share it?
Also, Geek Hero Bubba, you literally came in the perfect time. It's almost like I started talking about piracy and you being a pirate, you came in. So
that's like Tevi and the Super Sons.
Yes, perfect. So Chris, go ahead.
Should I share my what I've done with my emulation, or
share away?
Go
please.
for it, dude.
Swing away, as they say in the movie.
All right, let me just boot this sucker up. Take a couple of seconds. There we are, and present screen. And... So I'm sharing my my screen right now, showing what I think of emulation.
Oh, what the frick?
Wow.
Now that's some good emulation right there.
So here are my libraries of various games. I actually let me put the volume back on. I had to disable it because it's hard to, like, I don't have an audio splicer or whatever, so when sound goes up super high.
So explain what you're doing.
So what we are looking at is a front end that I worked on to basically house all of my emulated.
Chris, Master Sergeant has a question for you.
Which version?
All right, yeah, Master Sergeant. Which version of Qbert?
Because I have the arcade version and about several different console versions as well. So these are all the different arcade cabinets. So, like, for example, if you wanted all of like the Street Fighter and fighting games from the Capcom fighting systems.
Nice.
Did you make this yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah,
I might have to talk to you more later about this because I've been meaning to get some way to set up my stuff as well. So, and this is rad. This is really, really rad.
It's so powerful. You can see the frame rates drop as he's sorting through it.
Yeah, because I'm like running like 60 things right now, but it's normally not this bad when it's running solo or when you're just doing streaming. But check it out. This is a game where Cammy starred in from Cammy from Street Fighter. Yeah, it's like a shoot 'em up that I don't think we ever got.
That sounds very cheeky.
Yeah.
Hey,
I take it that game has a lot of cheesecake in it.
Giggity git. Yep, it does.
Nice.
And then, so if I wanted to say go over to the consoles, I got everything from Atari 2600 all the way to the modern. So, like,
but do you have Qbert?
Yes. In fact, I think there's I can just do a
Soul Calibur. I freaking love Soul Calibur. I love that game so much.
I got Soul Calibur and Soul Calibur 2, 3.
Oh, there we go. There's your question, Master Sergeant.
Yeah, that's a Qbert game. But there's. Yeah,
In fact, I actually played Soul Calibur
Master
6.
Sergeant just replied. He's actually wondering if you have the arcade version.
Yes, I do. Let me remove the audio because I don't want to get Nick's channel struck because I'm using the Tron Legacy music for the
I mean, like, I don't mind the Tron Legacy music. I like Tron Legacy, but I like not getting copyright struck even more.
Fun fact, so when I played Soul Calibur 6, I actually made Wonder Woman in it because she's always my best character in any type of fighting game, and she wasn't in Soul Calibur. So, like Thanos, I said, fine, I'll do it myself.
Of course!
Thank you.
Why am I still hearing music? Maybe if I take off master audio. There's still a little few bugs here and there that I gotta work through because again, this is
so cool.
Yeah, but thanks. Yeah, let's see. Go into master volume. bring that to 0. There we go. There, that way Nick's stream is officially safe. Oh, look, there's another bug.
Yes.
His channel will never be safe.
No, not as long as I'm running it.
So let's go into arcade and let's see.
Turtles in Time.
Games.
TURTLE power.
So I got Qbert, the old you're not whatever it does. I got Qbert cubes. Wow,
the frame rate.
The frame rate.
Yeah, this is again. I've got like freaking 30 things open right now.
Well, what you don't realize is that Chris has actually built in a slow motion function.
It looks like I got to get some a texture. For
that sounds like copium, but I'll allow it.
Yeah, it is dying. For
Wait,
some
is
reason.
that the cubes? Is that like oh my god? I realized what they were doing with that. Dear God.
Let me free up some RAM. See if.
Dude, man, look at the cubes. It seems like the carpet does match the drapes.
Do I have? Oh, it's because I think I have StreamYard open twice. No.
Why do you have StreamYard open twice?
Oh, it's because I was on a stream prior to this, and I don't think I closed out of it.
But why? I'm sorry, I'm just giving you crap.
Yeah. God damn. I think I. Nope. Let me.
So yeah, like you have Qbert, and like what's the most modern system you have? Like I saw you have the Switch. I think PS4 emulation is starting to take off.
It's in very early beta, but they are working, and there are a couple of active prototypes right now.
Yeah.
Dude. Yes, Sony actually has made like the PS4. God damn, why is it? I gotta. And again, I apologize.
Are you done with your stuff?
I want to show the if I can as soon as I don't know why my system is getting its ass kicked right now, because that thing is not. It's probably doing some stupid virus scanning or something because Windows 10 is garbage.
All right, so if you're done, I'm gonna remove your thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, this looks better. Oops, no, I don't want that. Okay. So you wanted consoles. So I got
Wii U.
Yeah.
What up, Ed? Chris is just flexing his emulation muscles upon us.
Yeah, dude, I love this. Is the most underrated. Like this poor system, man. This thing did not get the love it deserved.
Yeah,
it did have some really good hit titles. It was just really poorly marketed.
Yeah, if you watch the Gameverse video, that's basically that's basically like the history of the Wii U. What they said is that a lot of people just thought it was an add-on to the actual Wii and not an actual separate system itself.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you have bad marketing.
Yeah, Nintendo really dropped the ball on the Wii U.
The brand
I think the most popular it got was around the release of Smash Brothers. Like that was probably the most relevant it got. Because I remember that time pretty clearly. The 3DS basically carried Nintendo through those years.
Yeah. In fact, it wasn't until recently that the 3DS got dethroned by the where are we? The 3DS.
The Switch.
Yep, by the Switch. I was confused as to whether or not I should have put the Switch in the handheld section or not because it's technically.
Technically, it's a handheld.
No, it definitely belongs in the console section because that's what it was released as. It's just that it has the optional feature of becoming a handheld.
So you're saying it can switch between being a handheld and a console?
Yes, it can.
Oh wow, they named it really well.
Yeah, it's like they learned their lesson from the debacle that was.
It's like okay, what is the most blatant name we could do to explain this thing?
Yeah, and I mean honestly, a little off topic, but I am kind of excited for what Nintendo is going to do with the next console.
There's rumors that it's supposed to be coming out next year, and honestly, we're kind of due for one. So according to the rumors, which take this with a grain of salt, and My sources are gaming leaks and rumors on Reddit. Like that's where I go to for most of my stuff, and they're usually pretty good. Supposedly, it's supposed to be PS4, PS4 Pro levels of quality. Because right now the Switch is like a really good PS3, so that's where it's at. You know.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be going like PS4, PS4 Pro levels, which I think would probably be good. Because like the thing with the Switch is you need to be able to port down games, and it was fine during like the PS4 era because it had just enough power that like you could do miracle ports. But as it stands now, the Switch does not have enough power to port over a lot of these games.
Not even close.
But if you do PS4 Pro levels, then you can kind of make it work.
Hey, check it out! It's that game we were talking about earlier.
Hey,
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah. Like I love some of the fan made stuff that has come out. Like, look at this: Tomb Raider Dagger of Shan is basically a fan made Tomb Raider game.
Oh yeah, that's also something we need to talk about. Is like fans stepping in and fixing content. Like, oh, perfect game to talk about this: Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Oh god, yeah.
That game, I think, still sells about roughly 50 to 100,000 copies a year. And
wow.
Like it's because it goes on sale all the time, and it's just a really good game. Which, by the way, I will be playing that this Halloween. So I'll be doing a Malkavian run. So Nick,
Malkavian for the win.
It's just Malkavian is like the crazy like having argued with the stop sign, and I want Jared and Snyder Queen to see it and just be like, oh, what's this? Just be all crazy and stuff like.
Dude, the dialogue
doesn't mean
alone,
I'll play it.
No. So they rewrote the entire dialogue tree for the Malkavians instead of giving additional options. Because if you're like Ventru, you're not a true vampire, or if you're what one of the other ones? Yeah, if you're Nosferatu, you're kind of gross, so they like get grossed out when they talk to you. But I remember watching the demo where they showed a female Malkavian walking up to a arms dealer, this black dude with a huge fro. And he's like, hey, baby doll, you want some gun? Because they call me Big Papa or whatever. And then, like, you see the dialogue options, and the text is all weirdly capitalized and uncapitalized and all this stuff. And he goes, damn, girl, you better stop hitting the pipe. Your eyes are all wily and stuff.
Yeah.
There's no way you can make that nowadays. I got to be honest.
Yeah, and that's what I love about... like talking about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, like it was made by ex Black Isle devs. Like they made Arcanum and then Temple of Elemental Evil. I really liked their approach to game design, where like each level was kind of its own self-contained story, and for a lot of like the hub mission levels, there are different approaches. Like they were really doing like what Deus Ex would do 5 years later, like Deus Ex Human Revolution. They were doing crap that like nobody else was doing at the time, like the multi-pronged approach, like obviously the dialogue. It's a shame that game isn't listed as an immersive sim because it kind of is.
Yeah.
Definitely kept me immersed.
And here's the thing about that game. It is notoriously like broken. Like it was broken on release, and they closed because the problem with that game is it's made using the Source engine. And they're developing it before Half-Life 2 came out, and they couldn't release it before Half-Life 2. So Activision, with their infinite wisdom, we were like, hey, so this vampire game, let's release it on the same day as Half-Life 2.
Yeah, that destroyed that game's sales, which is a shame.
And so like the devs pushed out like a patch a week, unpaid, mind you. And that's really what killed the game. Was like literally if that game would have had like another 6 months to a year in the oven, it would literally be like KOTOR levels of Remember Now. Like it would like, I mean, it's a cult classic. It is a fan favorite cult classic that is still talked about today. But it would literally be up there with like Half-Life. It would be top in Game of the Year's list. Like as like a lot more people would play it. Like it's you know the saying, every time Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is mentioned, someone goes and installs it. So so the person who installs it, I hope you have fun.
Yeah, it's a shame what happens to the sequel. But
like Bloodlines 2 is not coming out.
Yeah.
But anyway, I kind of buried my lead. I buried my lead. So the reason why it's even considered a cult classic today is because the fans stepped in and fixed the game. Like, you got unofficial patches, and then you also got like some modded stuff like Final Night, the Bloodline, the whatever, like, you know, and yeah, like there's a lot of good content, and yeah, you can play the game perfectly now. The GOG version, I think, comes the unofficial patch. The Steam version, you got to patch yourself. But like without the fans stepping in, the game would have been forgotten.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And similar in that line, because I remember talking to you about this the other day, is Sonic Adventure, the original one.
Yeah.
Because the port to the GameCube was just so utterly buggy and bad. And
shout out to the Sonic modding community. You guys are true heroes. You
They're
guys
legends.
are Sonic heroes.
Oh yeah.
Sonic
But-
Heroes.
Thank you. I was hoping somebody would
I
get
had
the joke.
to.
But I mean, basically, you know, one of the most definitive ways to play the original Sonic Adventure now is to basically take the GameCube DX port with all the really neat extras in there, and then port over the Dreamcast textures and a couple of patches where, you know, some of the level design got a little janky, and it basically makes it almost a virtual masterpiece. And now I'm hearing that they're talking about, you know, a fan-made HD remaster of both Sonic Adventure games because Sega can't be bothered.
I mean, like, the only reason we got Sonic Mania was because of the fan modding community. Like, shout out to Christian Whitehead. Oh, and don't worry, Geek Bubba. When it's my turn, I'll be busting out my modded PSP. I literally have it right here. Yeah. Just what Chris is showing is really good, so we're just done doing that. But like, but yeah, like, shout out to Christian Whitehead. He did the Sonic 1 and 2 ports, Sonic CD ports, proved himself to Sega, and so his team did Sonic Mania, which is probably like the best Sonic game we've gotten in like the last 5 years.
Check it out. So there's Christian Whitehead's first project, Sonic Mega Mix. That was the one that put him on the map.
When did he do that? Was when he did this for Sega CD?
Yeah. So it was ported to the Sega CD, the Genesis, and I think the PC. So there were those 3 ports, and that was kind of like what got him. They're like, oh, who is this guy? Like, he was part of the Sage community. Like, apparently Sega really loves the all of the fan-made Sonic games and stuff. Like, they it's funny because like it just kind of proves that it was a bad business move because Sega's now pretty much defunct and Nintendo isn't, whereas Nintendo's anti-fan creation stuff is like the litigiousness of it is legendary. But
also the irony is it's Sega's fan openness that is keeping them alive.
Yeah, it's keeping them still relevant. Yeah. And so we have the original. So here's something that kind of was disappointing. So we got the American version of Sonic CD, and apparently the Europeans and the so if I go over to the European Sega CD or the Mega CD, they got a better version.
Hey, that's a game that's worth at least what, $500?
With the Sonic CD, or
no, the K one, like the first one that popped up.
Oh yeah, K.
Oh, Snatcher. That's an expensive game.
Yeah, well, this is the only English version, the only English dub version.
Yeah, which is a shame. I want a re-release of this game so bad. Like, they need to do a re-release of both Snatcher and Police Knots. Like, dear God, I would love that.
Oh God, yeah.
I actually own Police Knots on PlayStation 1 because, like, you know, they have patches for it. Which, oh yeah, fan patches, fan translations. We got to get to that at some point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what we see here is Sonic CD that somebody modded together the option to play the Japanese and the European versions of the original Sonic CD that had slight tweaks to certain things, including
Sonic Boom.
Yeah, it had a completely different soundtrack, which was insane at the time. People are like, what are you talking about? That's not Sonic, you know? And it's a completely different, like, the music, in my opinion, is better in the Japanese version than the American version.
Also, like, Geek here, Bubba, I just want to say, yeah, I don't blame you for getting a Japanese copy because Crusader Senti in America is, like, really expensive.
Yeah, well, and one other thing that I'd like to mention, since we are traveling in and out of the topic of emulation is essentially most people would not need to emulate if gaming companies offered something like what Chris is showing right here. If they offered something like this, even as a subscription service or just like a storefront like Steam does, but you actually own the game instead of like, oh, it's a forever rent, people would never emulate and they would not get ROMs.
I will say, as much as we rag on Nintendo, I do think what they're doing with Switch Online is a good step in the right direction.
It is.
Obviously the service, they're still building it up. I think that's going to be a great service. And Game Pass, as it is now, I think is also good, but there's also the thing with like Microsoft is obviously trying to monopolize the feature, so I'm a little wary about that one.
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing is Nintendo with its online storefront is utilizing the same emulators that we use to run ROMs.
Well,
do you remember remember how like during the Wii days it was discovered that the Super Mario Brothers ROM had a Nesticle header inside of it?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Nesticle, it was like a classic NES emulator back in like the 90s, 2000s. And so the ROM from the Wii version that you downloaded from the Wii Shop channel, and even in the 2000s, Nintendo was very anti-emulation, had a Nesticle header. Like, that is a caught pants down moment if there was one.
That is very much a pot calling the kettle black.
Yes, it is. Well, also one problem with doing the non-emulation route, which frustrates the hell out of me, is that like with the whole games as a service thing, is just like with Netflix and all these other video sharing services, they lose licensing. So we will never see on any Sega product or whatever games like this, like Outrun, or the reason why is because Ferrari actually has a license that they leased out to Sega, and that expired.
And then other games that are like licensing hack, like
Sneak King.
The Burger King,
or license. Like the James Bond games on the PS2, like Nightfire, Agent Under Fire. Well, Agent Under Fire, I think, is because like the Bond company is the only reason we got GoldenEye is because we're between bonds right now. Because the Eon Productions doesn't like to do licensed games that have past bonds in them. That's why during the Wii era, when we got GoldenEye, it had Daniel Craig in it.
Yeah, well, I think you offered up another viable solution to this, which was to have an academic exemption for a games preservation sort of library deal.
Did you guys see what happened with games So there's an organization that has actually actively been pursuing games preservation. They're like,
are you talking about the Video Game History Foundation?
Yes. And did you see how horribly snubbed?
With them. I have a love-hate relationship with them.
The industry basically told them to get effed.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't care.
See, I listen to their podcast a lot, and Frank Cifaldi, the head of the Video Game History Foundation, I really feel like he kind of goes at it the wrong way a lot of the times. Like, there's kind of like I don't know, it's like I don't know, like he wants like laws passed that allow them just like, oh, we can take this, I don't know. Like, I have a love-hate relationship. Like, I like some of the stuff he does, but like some of the stuff they talk about, like the way they go about it, I just am total disagreement.
But the thing is that you would think these companies would be like all for preserving history. That's the thing. What they don't realize is that their where they are now is built upon the past success and failures of these past titles.
To be fair, when it comes to Nintendo, it has been proven that Nintendo actually has a very well-stocked archive of their stuff, like with the Giga Leaks and whatnot. Like, Nintendo internally is preserving their stuff. We know that. As far as the other companies, it remains to be seen. But yeah, I think when the thing where I disagree is when the Nintendo online store shut down. We all knew that was coming. We all knew that was inevitable. I see a lot of I'm trying to put this delicately, misinformation. That's probably not the right word, but like that's the best thing I have. Misconceptions. There's the right word. Misconceptions because the reason they can't keep these stores up, and Chris, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, is security reasons, like purchasing reasons, like credit card info, and then also like the servers. Obviously, the money aspect. Like, and it's like when they did this, like they freaked out, like, oh no, this is a loss for president. Like they acted like Nintendo was literally killing their puppy, and I'm just like, for frick's sake, shut the heck up! Like it's just the way they acted. Like, Chris, am I far off here?
No, I like what bothers me, like obviously like server space costs money. And if you're not, so say you're charging $5 for a game, okay, which is not an unreasonable price for a 30-plus-year-old game.
Yeah.
And you don't make a sale, and your monthly expenses for server space because of all of the games libraries that you're holding is like $1,000, which again is not an unreasonable amount for a gargantuan 4 terabyte, 8 terabyte, whatever server. Maybe it's even petabytes. Who knows how grandiose these servers can get? But
I mean,
if it's something like a PS, if it's like I guarantee you, like maybe like the PS4, PS5, Xbox servers, they probably even go beyond petabytes and maybe even octobytes.
Yeah, or brontobyte. Yeah, like something sick.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of sheer data holding for the library that I'm building, which we'll get to that when we get to it.
Oh, I do want to say, yes, Bubba, I actually do agree with you. That was not cool. That FU patch they did. I have no argument for that. I'm not defending that. That was yeah.
But basically, without a server, I mean, just holding the raw data of the video games themselves, I'm basically sitting right around 7 or 8 terabytes.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not even close to a third of the way through of making the actual library that I want to make.
And the thing you got to realize is these games are just keep getting bigger. Like average Call of Duty is 100 gigabytes.
Halo was close to 70.
Well, check this out. Okay, I'll try to hide the. See if I can. No, I don't think I can. Damn it. But maybe. I think I spoke too soon. Yeah.
So, it'd be kind of interesting to see like how much storage space all this is taking up.
So you can't really see it because I can't, like, my cursor disappears because I have it so that the system actually it's funny, I can see it on the screen. So there we go. So that's how many games I can hold with all of my 4 terabytes that I've been hosting this stuff on. So that's only 35 games. Okay, let's go over to PS4. How many of these do I have? 12. Okay, let's go over to the Panasonic 3DO. How many do I got here? 203. In television, 141, ColecoVision, 156, Atari 2600, 644. Like as you see, like when we get into the older games, except for the 7800 because it never had a large library.
Well, you got to realize, like, like Mario Brothers is on the NES is like less than a megabyte. Like, and the average Atari game is less than 4K. And by the way, for the people who are younger than 25, K is less than a megabyte. So it's byte K. A K is literally 1,000 bytes. So
it's
like
byte,
when you
kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte, as it is right now.
Yeah. So basically, Atari 2600 games release had to be no bigger than 4 kilobytes. Versus like let's say a PS5 game is some of them could, like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some games that are topping 200. Like Red Dead Redemption is like 180 gigabytes. Dear God.
Oh yeah, let's see. That's on the PS4.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Where is it? I think I can see file size. Oh no, I don't. I think I omitted that one. Yeah, I could actually put in and show you how big these suckers are. But like these games are hard drive eaters. Like you're not like
well, not only that, it's also because of the lack of compression.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic of discussion what these game companies do, because like a lot of it, especially for like PC stuff, is we live in the era of 4K/8K, so a lot of these companies are including 4K textures, but the problem is a lot of gamers are still like gaming at 1080p, 1440p, so like those 4K textures they will never use, but they're still taking like ungodly amount of space. You know, like I know some games, thankfully, are concluding an option now not to download the textures. Like, there needs to be more of that. Like, there needs to be like separate downloads for like the high res tech, like the 4K textures, you know, that kind of stuff. Like I think we're talking about Pokemon. I think maybe on my Discord server, and like those games are horribly unoptimized. Like I remember reading on Reddit, they're talking about like. So let's say you're on Route 4 in like a 3DS Pokemon game, okay? And let's say there's 5 Pokemon in there. The data for those 5 Pokemon in that route are stored in the area for that route. Like let's say it's like Chansey, Rattata, and then Voltorb. I'm just pulling stuff out of my butt. And then let's say you go to Route 12. And let's say that has Chansey,
Mankey,
Fletchling, and then Eevee. That Chansey, the data for it, by data I mean like the model, the textures, are both in the Route 4 section and the Route 12 section. So like that's how optimized these games are.
Well, when your patches, now these are updates to your game, when they get into the double digits of gigabytes, like, hey, yeah, it's just a 35 gigabyte download for your game update. Yeah, your hard drive is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, and it's like we regularly have these patches that are bigger than the entire game. Like essentially what a lot of these games do is like you're re-downloading the entire game every time you get a patch.
The other thing that these companies are not considering is, it looks small to say 35 gigs, but what they're ignoring is the fact that a lot of people have other games installed on their hard drives. So and that 35 doesn't work anymore.
And here's the other wrinkle. We're transitioning from hard drives to solid state as the norm. Okay? Like literally if I would have bought a laptop like 3 years ago, I could have had a hard drive on there with like 2-3 terabytes. This laptop I bought for $1,100 like 2 years ago. It's a good one. It had a 512 SS NVMe SD. Like people are putting laptops and computers are coming with 512, 256, you know, or even 128 on their laptops now. And these are just not enough for these games. Like sure, people like either custom build it, but like for your average consumer is either going to buy a laptop or buy, like at most they'll get a pre-built gaming computer. Like,
well, not only that, we also have to remember that in terms of graphical fidelity, anything beyond 1080p or 1440p and 60 FPS is actually considered a gimmick. Mm-hmm. It's just considered unnecessary because for most of these people, anything beyond that, where you're reaching into 4K and 8K and like 650 frames per second and crap like that, they don't see it. They don't care.
Yeah,
so
like
long as it's in high definition and it plays pretty nicely, they're not going to care beyond that.
The monitor on my laptop has a 240 hertz refresh rate. So for people who don't kind of get the nomenclature, hertz, like basically if you have a 60 hertz display, you can go up to 60 frames per second. Am I right, Chris?
Yep.
So exactly I can go up to 240 frames per second, that's a rarity. Like having a 240 hertz display on your laptop is still a premium feature of mine. So like I'm kind of bragging a little bit, but and I play games where it's like 140, 120, you know, like I can have a game drop from like 140 to 100 frames per second and I never even notice it. Like I really only start to notice the chug when it goes from like 60 to 55, you bet your sweet bottom I notice that.
Yeah, 60 frames per second is considered quote unquote real time, and that's why Project Natal failed so terribly. You remember the Microsoft had the Kinect system that they were trying to push out?
Yep.
And they cut all these corners to make the Kinect run at 15 frames per second, meaning that the camera is only capturing half of your movement. So it became this completely unreliable peripheral that wasn't even tracking your true movements.
Yeah. Like 24 frames is what movies are used. That's the cinematic frame per second. Video games are at minimum 30. Like actually, I don't mind like the recent trend of video games to have like a performance and then a quality mode. I actually think that that's a good thing for people who want it. You know.
Yeah.
Like that's one improvement that I'm actually happy they're doing. You know.
Yeah, for me, anything below 60 and I start getting an eye twitch. Anything below 30 and I get migraines. Like I play a lot of Switch games and I have to actually take a lot of breaks because I'll start getting eye twitches and eye strain. Like you can, like some people, it's just like, especially if you spend a lot of your time working in front of computer screens. If you're working on a PC that's got a 60 hertz refresh rate, and then you go over to your Switch handheld, which is giving you 30, sometimes dips down to 20 or lower, you'll actually subconsciously start getting that like something's not right here. Like,
yeah, the uncanny valley kind of effect. What's really weird is like if you go back to like the original Doom, like Doom, like on a good system back in the day was like 18, 22 frames per second, you know, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of those games ran at like lower frame rates, but I think that's because they were at least consistent. That I think we kind of put up with them more, maybe. I don't know.
Well, it was consistent, but it was also frame locked.
Yep.
So when you were in those lower frame rates, it was your movement speed was attached to your frame rate.
Yeah.
And so if it dipped in frame rate, it didn't give you like that really bad dissonance.
Yeah.
Which is also why if you play Doom in that version and you crank it up as far as the frame rates will go, you basically speed around like like a space marine on cocaine.
Well, you actually see that in a lot of old games where like the frame rate is tied to the clock speed. Like that's why, like you know how a lot of old computers had the turbo button. See that thing is a lie. It doesn't actually like speed up your computer. It actually slows it down so that you can use older software. Like let's say for example you got like Test Drive for 1992, and like you played in 1995, like thing will go like warp freaking speed, you know, because like the process is like so much fast. Like honestly, even seeing like modern games, like for example, if I play Fallout New Vegas on my computer, what's okay? I got to shout this out. Fallout New Vegas runs between 70 and 40 frames per second on my computer. Okay, and I got a good computer, but like what's funny is when I'm at 70 frames per second, I'm walking really fast. But when I get down to 40, I start to slow down. It's just kind of funny. Like we were talking about that. I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. Well, you guys ever see? So a lot of times games will now come with VSync disabled, or vertical sync, meaning that your
because like usually the first thing you do when you're trying to run a game that's like hard to run, you turn off VSync.
And I can't play without VSync enabled because the tearing freaks my eyes out. Like you'll see like especially with interlacing, like you'll see like the top half of the screen suddenly skits over to the left. You know, and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem that I run into with a lot of games, and I think this might be a quirk of my hardware, is like I run a game and like you just look at like my Resident Evil playthrough, like there's a lot of flicker, like a lot of textures seem to like flicker or like kind of fuzz, yeah. I mean, it's not like too bad, but sometimes it can get a little annoying, but it's not like overwhelming.
Yeah, there's something called Z fighting or Z fighting, Americans, where the programmatic, like something called floating point integers, meaning that there's a number that the coordinates for a pixel is supposed to be located at. And what happens is you have a polygon with a texture on it, but you have another polygon that's overlapping it. And if you don't have a floating point integer and it just says no, it's either a 1 or a 0 or a 2 or whatever. What happens is the program goes, but the texture says it's supposed to be here, but there's a polygon over it. No, the other polygon. No, the other one. And you start getting that weird flickering.
Yeah, Chris, a lot of your stuff is great, and we could go on for hours.
Oh yeah,
but I do want to have like some of the other people speak. You can still have your you can still have that going on right now. So Nix, what is your relationship like emulation and ROMs? Like how do you feel about it?
I only ever used one emulation once, a very long time ago, on my very old laptop before I had to basically say goodbye to it.
Aww.
And that was not the new one that's been giving me troubles that I have to send back now, but like an old one. But I basically tried to emulate the original Final Fantasy VII because despite the fact that my aunt had it and had offered to let me play it at one point, by the time I'd gotten around to actually getting a laptop with like that I could play it on, she didn't have it anymore, sadly. So I was like, all right, well, screw it, I'll emulate. And it was a fairly good experience, outside of the fact that for some reason it would not let me save. And I know
I remember.
I know that wouldn't let me save because I get to the first boss, I die, and I go to get my save game, and I'd have to go right back to the beginning.
Oh man.
Yeah. So.
This was a chunky game. Was it like 3 discs?
Yeah, and then the next game was like 4, I think.
Yeah, what is it? 4 discs.
So, Shion, what's your experience?
So, while I have not worked on setting up actual emulators just yet, I've kind of played around, but I've definitely done a lot of my fair share of sailing of the 7 seas. And I have my particularly favorite places, mainly because I've checked them out. I've tested their stuff. It's
Vim's Lair.
Vim's Lair and myabandonware.com, which is basically the other half of GOG when GOG stopped doing the classic stuff. They moved all of that over to myabandonware, and most of it is free.
Yeah.
But basically, my whole idea is a lot of it. A lot of older video games are either harder to get a hold of, or just aren't represented in the second game market.
Yeah, especially like a lot of older
really
PC games.
They're really expensive.
Yeah, especially older PC games.
Yeah. And so if I could get my hands on these older games legally in a legal manner and in an affordable manner, would I do it? Yes.
Yeah,
however,
I want to touch upon this this thing because it's actually a really important talking point. So it has been proven time and time again that people only do piracy as a means of convenience. Yes, free stuff is an allure, but people have been, it is a statistical fact, it has been proven multiple times that if you give people an option to pay for something inconvenient, they will do it. Like, look at, like, for example, iTunes. Until iTunes came out, the whole digital music thing was a bona fide problem. You had stuff like Napster, and all the file sharing sites.
Grooveshark, all of those. Yeah, I remember.
iTunes plus iPod gave people a ease like 99 cents a song, like even to this day I think like a song is like $1.50, so like they've actually been pretty good about that. But like for 99 cents a song, and you can put them on your iPod, they made it super convenient, super easy, and piracy went down. Like for example, Gabe Newell, he created Steam as a way to curb piracy by making it convenient. And then obviously the most recent example, Netflix. Like movie piracy was really bad in the late 2000s. I would know. I'm old. Sorry, just the comedic timing is too good to pass up.
Oh, trust me, Nick. We're all well aware that you're old.
Oh, frick you.
I'm gonna stay quiet on this one.
Back when Nick was a child, their idea of a video game was smashing two rocks together.
Oh, I'm sorry. It seems like Jared has lost his connection for some reason.
Whoops.
Well, just to add to your point, like I own all of those mini consoles, like the Nintendo Classic, the SNES Classic, the TurboGrafx Classic. I got them all because I want to financially support these products. Unfortunately, I also on Steam. There's a Genesis. Like I think Sega freaking knocked it out of the park when they did that Genesis Classic collection. You can actually buy the collection, and then you can keep adding more games to the library, and you can see them all stacked up on kind of like what I'm doing here with a vertical stack.
And their Steam work, really cool they literally added Steam Workshop support.
Yes,
to where literally people have been adding games. Yep. For example, you can download Aladdin and add it to it.
Yeah, if they come out with a Saturn mini or a Dreamcast mini, I'm gonna get those because again, I want to financially support this.
Oh dear God, I want a Dreamcast mini so bad. Yeah, but anyway, I was kind of leading into some with the Netflix thing. So Netflix, video game piracy, movie piracy was big in the late 2000s. And Netflix came out and made it super easy. You can actually see this on Google Trends. You can actually, this is statistically provable. Game piracy went down in the late 2000s and all through up until the mid to late 2010s when everyone wanted to have their own streaming service. And then magically, when it started to get more inconvenient, when you had to hunt down 3 to 4 different services and these things kept jumping around, magically movie piracy went up again. It is so
all
crazy.
conveniency based.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Is there people who want free stuff? Yes. But
there always will be.
Yes, this is more of a convenience issue than anything else.
Well, how's this one? You bought a Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers or whatever on your Wii, okay, for the Wii shop or whatever. That didn't transfer over to your 3DS or to your Wii U. So when your Wii hardware failed, you lost those purchases. So you rebuy them on your Wii U and 3DS. So you got them
think even Nintendo realized this. I think Nintendo realized, people aren't going to want to buy Mario Brothers for the 4th time, so let's just do a streaming service.
Yeah, and that's why people are screw it, I'll just get the ROM. I've already paid for it. 6 times.
Yeah, and that's also part of my issue is if I want to play these games, I have 2 options in front of me. Or technically 3. I can either buy the games I want to play 60 billion times because we're still in the middle of a quote unquote console war, and nobody is willing to basically war on the software side, whereas hardware is kind of reaching its limits.
Yeah, everyone's trying to spend their way out of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Or I can try and find a reasonable streaming platform for it and have to wrestle with that bugaboo. Or I owned most of these games. I'll just go get the ROM. I've already put in my financial support, so why don't I just own the game? And whenever something new that comes out to update that comes out, I'll just update it and I'll still maintain the access to all of my library.
I'm just gonna say this, and then I'm gonna get Jared's thoughts on emulation. I really feel the segmenting of the game market, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, is really hurting gaming more than it's helping. They really need to kind of consolidate into a DVD, Blu-ray, one format. Obviously I could see Nintendo kind of off the side doing their thing, but there really needs to be one format that everyone is around.
Well, because I would say that it would be better if we had a 2 hardware format where everybody
basically PC and Nintendo. Basically, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Basically a PC for your quote unquote home console, because most people these days own a PC or a laptop that's gaming capable. And then Nintendo could work on handhelds because God knows that they basically have the handheld market nailed.
And that's honestly where I see things going, because you see the rise of stuff like the Steam Deck, and and like all the other like PC based handhelds. Like I think this is just a trend that's gonna grow. But Jared, you've been awfully quiet, and I appreciate your patience. What's your relationship with emulation and ROMs?
I've never done it.
Well, that was a quick segment, but
yeah,
really.
It's not anything I got into because you have to understand, I wasn't a PC gamer until like relatively recently. I was a strict Xbox guy.
Oh,
I'm just I'm just now starting the process of building my own PC.
I feel sorry for you.
Don't be. I got Halo in the good years.
Yeah, fair enough. But still, with the degradation of the Xbone over time, and the fact that the Xbox One S, whatever this new generation is going to be called, basically is fully compatible with the Windows Store, and so therefore has technically no exclusives. It's just you're just paying extra for a PC that isn't a PC.
Here's the thing, though. And no one really has exclusives anymore because even Spider-Man and God of War come out on PC years later.
That's also true.
Okay, so Chris, I'm gonna take this down because like I do want to show some stuff for myself.
Cool.
Oh, I guess he doesn't want us to show.
I pressed the wrong button. I
guess Nick wants to leave. That's what he wants to show us.
All right. So
he wants to show us his escape act.
This is my relationship with emulation.
Nice.
Like, do you guys see it?
Yeah.
Is that a PSP or a Vita?
It's a PSP.
Oh, nice.
And it currently has, Pokemon running on it. So my relationship is, I really started emulating probably early 2000s. So like, I kind of started pretty early. And it started on my PC. I think I had like a 2004 HP computer. It was like a Walmart special kind of thing. So not the best, but it was probably okay for their time. Let's see here. I just started Pico Drive, but like, but yeah. So like I started with like PlayStation stuff. Like when they mentioned Final Fantasy VII ROMs, what I did as the first thing is I got Final Fantasy VII from like a flea market for $7, which you won't see that again.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I was the wrong button. Oh, come on. But yeah, so what I did is I used EPSXE and actually played the disc on my computer.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like so I'm trying to load a
awkward silence.
Yeah, well, to fill the space, one of the main things that I've also find with emulation is that the modern day consoles are basically $500 laptops that hook up to a TV, only play video games, and not a whole lot much more. So it's kind of getting to the point where consoles are trying to compete with PCs, and people can build PCs better than consoles for the exact same price. So it almost becomes a matter of, why would I spend this on a console when all of your stuff's either going to come out on PC or I'm going to find a way to put it on PC for like half the price.
This is what I was saying earlier about how Microsoft destroyed the video gaming industry, was because 20-something years ago when they launched the Direct Xbox, aka Xbox, its original sale pitch was that it was bringing the PC experience to your living room. Okay, they were literally their initial pitch actually said that you could play PC games on your Xbox, and technically they weren't lying, because what they did was they incentivized developers of PC games to pigeonhole or shoehorn their games onto this non-upgradable gated garden console with a terrible input device. Because let's face it, a console shooter with a controller is asinine. Like it is. You are working harder than you need to, and you have no idea how much software is going on behind the scenes to make you feel like you're actually playing the game. but there's auto aim, there's visual smoothing, there's a whole bunch of other things that a mouse and keyboard never needed.
Well, and remember also, here's when I started to get an idea they weren't even hiding anymore, when they made it so you could buy a mouse and keyboard for the Xbox.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I see what you're doing now.
So you have a PC now, you can't upgrade and it can't do anything. So why not just get the PC? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and over time, you know, you can just make that PC better and better and better and better for basically, you know, a mere fraction of the price than it would cost to get the next console.
Yep. And I think they're starting to realize that, because how we were talking about earlier about the beefy sizes that these games are getting, they're all bloated and gargantuan in file size. Well, if you haven't noticed, the PS5 launched with the most asininely small designed hard drive for this system. And therefore, like, they have a diskless version. So the only way you can get these games is to install them onto your hard drive. Good luck with that. You got less than a terabyte to play with.
Yeah, this is why, like,
Yeah,
every
really.
time somebody says, oh, like, video games are going to be all digital here, surely, I don't know why you're buying that physical game. Physical games are dead. Like, well, there's a couple different reasons. One, storage size is increasingly getting lower. Plus, like that PS5, like, if you want to upgrade, you're going to have to spend an extra $100, $200, because the PS5 depends heavily on its SSD. That was the whole entire selling point.
Yep.
So, if you know, it's going to cost you a big chunk of change. The other thing is slow internet speeds. All right, like, okay, you live in San Francisco, you got a gigabyte download, cool, you're awesome. But here's the thing: a lot of people in the interior don't have access to that kind of internet. Like, even here in, like, I live in Metro Detroit, a metropolitan area, pretty populous. I think, like, the average high-speed internet is 100 gigabytes down, which is good, but nowhere as near as good as these you want. Like, that's why Stadia failed, okay?
Yeah,
That is
I mean,
point blank why
honestly, I
Stadia
can
failed.
attribute to that because I live in Denver. Sorry, Nick. I live in Denver, which is has become one of the bigger tech cities in America, and the highest I've seen our bitrate speed go up to is 1 to 2 gigabytes per second.
Yeah, and it's like the streaming future is probably at least 20 years off, but like digital future is even worse, because we need, like, basically fiber in at least all main metropolitan areas, and we don't. And it's like outside of the cities, and this is kind of a very US problem, where people think the US is the cities, but it's not. Like, you know, there's so many people that live outside of the cities. Like, you go half an hour or 45 minutes outside of a major city, it's basically wild. It's a very different world. I mean, that's a whole other topic, but, like, yeah, like,
yeah, I mean, 90% of the United States is small towns. You've got a fair amount of larger cities like Denver, like New York, like Los Angeles, but a lot of very nice, by the way. I see
this is a PS1 version, by the way.
Very nice. But, you know, basically, you've got, like, what, 12 major cities across the entirety of the US, and everything else is either suburbs of those large cities or just small towns speckled throughout the rest
There's
of the
plenty
interior.
of states where, like, literally their biggest city is their capital, and even at that, the capital maybe has like 30 to 40K people, and, like, that's their biggest town in the entire state, is like one town, there's like one city, and it's the capital. And or like, a lot of times, like, when you say, oh, let's go to town, it's the county seat. Like, usually like the capital of the county. That might be a bigger settlement, you know, but, like, in a lot of these things, like the county seat might have 5,000 people in it, and that's considered, you know, city to a lot of these people. Like, here in Michigan, like the city of Detroit, which is our biggest town, I think we have like a couple 100K people, and that's our biggest town. The metropolitan area has about 4 million people, so that's pretty good. But, like, but yeah, it's just, this like, the problem with the U.S. as opposed to other areas around the world is the U.S. is very spread out. Like you go to Europe, that whole like you could be in a 5,000-year-old castle and have 10 gigabytes down. Korea, like Korea has
Asia. Woo.
Like I think it's like 80% of Korea's population lives in Seoul, so they can get away with Seoul having like 10 gigabytes down, 20 gigabytes. Like, it's insane.
Well, it's also because Korea had their entire internet network set up much later down the line. So basically their entire internet, their entire optics is all fiber.
Yeah, no copper wire.
Yeah, none whatsoever. It's all light. It's all fiber light.
When I was in Tokyo, it's a bizarre policy, but there's no Wi-Fi in Tokyo. Like if you go to your hotel, there's no give you a Wi-Fi connection.
They're probably trying to cut down on like wireless pollution, which is an issue, by the way. That is an issue.
Yep. Yeah. It's a real one, and it's kind of scary. But everything is cabled
especially
internet.
when you relate to bees.
Well, what happened was one of my coworkers and friends is like, "Oh, dude, you're gonna need internet because your phone, your SIM card doesn't work in Japan because it's an American SIM card and a stupid Verizon thing." But he's like, "I'll give you this little device, and we get it from this company, and for $15 a month, okay, $14.99. It was something like 1,500 yen, okay, which is or 15,000. I can't remember. Basically,
1,500.
It was 15. Yeah, it was basically $15 a month, okay? So $150 a year, whatever. This little device that I carried with me was a Wi-Fi hotspot that I charged every night, was faster than my home LAN connection back in America.
That is really sad.
Well, we also have to remember that because, like you said, Nick, because America is so spread out, most people don't realize that America is still majority agrarian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
America is majority like suburban. I think that's what I would say. Like, America is mostly centered around suburban life rather than urban life.
It's either suburban or straight up agrarian. And
Farmers,
while, the major metropolitan areas tend to dominate the areas, most people don't realize that they're still technically a minority.
Yeah, we're kind of getting into some modern politics. Like I mean, this is a good conversation. You guys are raising good points, but we're kind of drifting away from like nerdy stuff and just more standard politics. I don't want to go there.
Well, unfortunately, nerdy stuff has been interfacing with that stuff, so unfortunately, we must as well. Adapt or die, right?
Perhaps, but I want to get to something a little more in our wheelhouse.
Well,
like Star Wars.
Well, we were going to talk about indie stuff as well, right? But yeah, we can talk Star Wars.
I told you I'd do that. So we'll go. Shion, we're going to talk about indie, and then yes, Jared will get on to Star Wars.
Don't worry. I guess we could probably do a whole podcast on indie later, but I'll just kind of make a real quick point as to because of the abuse from the AAA and somewhat from the AA industries, a lot of people have been turning to, all right, well, if you're not going to make the games that I want, I'll make it myself. And I'm part of that sphere, although I'm very much very, very pre-alpha stuff, but I've got friends in that sphere like Natsukaze, who's just probably about maybe a month or two out from his Kickstarter stuff. And a lot of people are releasing indie stuff that has been taking off because they're the ones who are listening to their audience, and they're the ones who are making the fun stuff.
Yeah, like that's the thing about indie is they really are starting to give AAA a run for their money. Like, you are having indie games that are doing AAA numbers. Like, they might not be like AAA quote unquote quality, like I'm using air quotes here, but they are like sales wise, they are doing AAA like stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
like Stardew Valley is like Terraria. I mean, hell, Minecraft was an indie game for longest time.
It was.
Minecraft is an indie game. It is. And then it's like you have other mainstays like for example, I love frick, what was it? Can't remember. See the game that got a Castlevania DLC recently. The roguelike.
Yeah, God, what is it? The dude lost his head.
All right, so okay, cool. But before we, Jared's got to go. Before we go, I do want to do the Star Wars topic. Jared, go. Star Wars. Complain about Star Wars, Jared.
Can they sell it to someone that knows what they're doing? Because I have zero confidence in anything coming out of Disney right now.
Amen.
Yeah, like so the reason we're kind of jumping ship from like Star Wars to this because we were having a really good Star Wars discussion pre-stream, and I wanted to kind of touch upon this. Jared's got to go here soon, so I like that's kind of why I'm rushing you, Shiro. So I do apologize.
Oh, hey, no,
but,
I already promised I would try and keep it as quick as possible for this. So
yeah, but yeah, so like Shiro, you heard some rumors like that, like Lucasfilm might be sold.
Yeah.
I may not be a big fan of the source, but let's kind of touch upon it.
Yeah, so from what I've heard, and please do take this with a huge grain of salt because as Nick has...
an entire container is my prescription, but you know.
Whatever your preferred prescription of salt is, because of Disney having a lot of the major bombs, and especially from the Lucasfilm house, they're starting to sell, they're talking about selling off some of their properties to try and make up the difference.
That part we do know about because like we have seen like Iger and other people talking about selling parts of off. Like the sale portion we know is being considered.
Right. However, the thing that I have heard, and like I said, this one I would say probably a ship full of salt. There have been murmurs about a particular individual. We don't know who he is, but we know that he might be a Saudi prince talking about buying up Lucasfilm should Disney sell it for quite a substantial price as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I still think another media company is going to snap it up. So that
would be my personal viewpoint. It would either be another media company or it might be George Lucas buying back his IP.
That would be the ultimate FU to Disney.
Right.
So here's my dream scenario. Okay. And this is where Jared comes in. All right. So Comcast goes on a buying spree. They buy Warner Brothers off of Discovery, which given the current landscape could happen. Like, Jared, do you agree?
Yeah. I of the companies that I think could realistically buy WB right about now, yeah, I'd say Comcast is one of them.
It's a very, very plausible scenario.
It's a strong contender.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Comcast could also buy Lucasfilm, which would create a very interesting scenario because now you have Warner Brothers and Lucasfilm at the same company, which means they can cross-pollinate IP, which you know, like Luke Skywalker for Warner Brothers All-Stars.
Yes.
Or imagine Star Wars comics being published by DC.
Again,
or
yes.
Crossovers like Star Wars versus Justice League. Like,
oh hell yeah, Star Wars Green Lantern, dude, get it right.
Like, okay, Warner Brothers properties, crossovers with DC. Like, what are some of the ones you would like to see? Jared, go.
Well, for one thing, just general Star Wars Green Lantern, I think would be pretty cool.
No, what is it? Star Wars invades the DC universe.
And you mean which characters do I want to see meet?
No, like, I'm sorry. Like, okay, let me just get this. This is a storyline that I want. It's basically through multiverse, the Empire basically lands themselves right outside of the DC Universe solar system. And so basically you have the Empire, and you also have the Rebel Alliance in there because this takes place during the classic trilogy. You have like Luke Skywalker, and all of them are it's merging or whatever. Let's say like Dark Side makes a deal with Palpatine or something. Who knows? The point is you basically have like a Star Destroyer in the air over Metropolis, and then you see like Darth like land in Metropolis Park, crushing the Superman statue, and he walks down. Yeah, and so you basically have like the Empire's trying to take over the DC universe, but you have the Rebel Alliance is assisting the DC universe.
Well, here's the thing, though. If the Empire
that storyline would be so freaking good.
Here's the one problem with that storyline: Stormtroopers versus like Superman and Wonder Woman. That's not in Batman. That's not going to end well for the Stormtroopers.
No, that's the point though. That they're fodder. Like the real deal is Vader and Emperor versus Batman.
But also, it's if you include Inquisitors in this.
Yeah, like, I'm telling you.
Like,
now, Batman probably has already prepped for the possibility of the Galactic Empire invading. You know I'm right.
No.
Lex
What he
Luger
does
strikes
is
a deal.
He reaches into his utility belt. He has anti-force spray.
Yeah, force be considered magic,
dude. Nick, he has dark space side repellent.
No. The anti-force spray is literally just captured Kathleen Kennedy farts.
Hey. But no, if we really wanted to put up a proper matchup, we have to do the DC universe gets invaded by the Old Republic.
Ooh.
Because that's when
Darth
when you
Malik.
start getting all of the super powerful Siths and crazy incredible Jedi. And that's also where you start getting the actual Sith empires, where you've got like Darth Nihilus, who consumes planets.
Of course.
Also, if we do not get this moment in DC Comics, I will be mad.
Hello there.
Oh, that has to happen. It has to. Otherwise, whoever has the IP in Comcast and is running it has no brain cells whatsoever. No intelligent life.
Have you guys seen the What If the Disney trilogy was badass or was awesome? Have you guys seen those videos?
That, yeah.
I saw like, you mean the Star Wars Visions one, the animated one?
No. Somebody on YouTube made these like AI generated like stills or whatever, and they gave their entire pitch of the entire Disney trilogy, and they broke it down into 3 different movies. They're like, what if A Force Awakens was awesome? And they like rewrote the entire story using all of the same cast and characters and locations. They just wrote the story differently. And it's so heartbreaking because it's like, it's not expanded universe or the EU stuff that I loved, but it was awesome. Like they made Kylo Ren, who was actually Ben Solo?
Ben Solo.
Yeah.
So he was a hero. They made Luke a badass, and the best part is Rey was a villain.
That would have been perfect.
That would be great. Oh my gosh.
It works so well.
So you're telling me the dark side is female?
I mean, honestly, it would be so easy to create if you really look hard into those movies. It's not that hard to find a good story in there.
Oh, the potential is there. It's just you have lame brains writing it.
Yeah,
and,
really.
and agendas to push.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, like I actually thought the idea of like all throughout Last Jedi, they're starting to become closer, and like, oh, he turns away the dark side, and it's like, the kind of thing between us. Like, I actually thought like the idea of Kylo Ren going full villain would have made for emotional story where Rey loves him, but she has to kill him. Like, that actually would have been
Stop
a cool
with
story.
the Reylo BS, Nick.
Well, we also have to remember that Rey is Kathleen Kennedy's self-insert OC, so that would never have happened.
And by the way, Nick, this is yet another occasion about how crappy you are at shipping 2 characters.
Oh, looks like
Slipped.
Yep. My finger slipped. Yeah, you can say it. Next, go ahead.
When you guys were talking about the DC universe and meeting Star Wars, basically. I was thinking, just earlier today, I actually came across a piece of fan art of Superman fighting Darth Vader.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that is perfect.
Man, it would be an even match too.
Also, how many of you guys watched Bat in the Sun?
I did.
No, I want to know, what is this?
They pitted Batman against Darth Vader.
Ooh.
All I am surrounded by is fear and dead men.
Yeah, like they actually had Batman using a lightsaber and whatnot. Like the scenario was that, like,
how much you want to bet that Batman would find a lightsaber and go, "Does it come in black?"
No, his was blue. Batman's lightsaber.
No, I know,
blue.
but I would love for him to actually have a black lightsaber, because those exist, by the way.
Oh yeah,
yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's called a dark saber.
Although
Batman
would much prefer to have his lightsaber be yellow so that he could flex on Hal Jordan.
Yeah,
I'm telling you. Nick. Somehow Batman would get the dark saber, and then he would say, "I now rule all of Mandalore." All the Mandalorian helmets start having bat ears now.
Yes,
he now has an army of Robins.
Well, you have a built-in weakness for Superman because he has a weakness to magic. And isn't that the Force? Like the Force is like magic users, like magic wielders?
Force is not magic. It's the Force is basically like life energy. It's not strictly
but
magic.
It's pseudo magic.
Yeah. To kind of jazz hands in why Superman wouldn't just raffle stomp everybody.
I mean, if you really think about it, the Force is basically psionics with a few extra things added on. Like that's really all the Force is like psionic psychokinesis. Like different variations of like psychic powers. I mean, lightning
but
obviously is
the Force is it has both a scientific explanation and a religious explanation and a mystical component to it. So it's less of a is it magic and more of it is both magic and science.
That's not how the Force works.
Yeah.
Well, I had a friend that worked at Avalon. Dude. But yeah, I had a friend that worked on the Avalon Hill games, the role-playing games for Star Wars, and he was telling me that after the prequels, where they're trying to scientifically explain the Force, they said that it was actually, or at least they retconned it in the RPG, that it was more of a means for the Jedi to use to confuse the layman, essentially, to convince them to allow them to take their kid into training. They're like, oh, it's the scientific thing, you know. It's like, no, it's a we are all luminous beings. The Force is omnipresent and it permeates us. And
I gotta push back against that because like if that was really just a marketing term, why would Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon like they're having a private conversation?
Yeah, nobody can hear them. Yeah, exactly.
So that kind of breaks down. Like what you would say is the Jedi believe it to be true, but it's really not true. It's like it's a marketing term, but they wholeheartedly believe it.
I just hate
the thing
fact that
it's not just a marketing term because not just the Jedi believe it, but the Sith do too.
Yep.
And there's also evidence of Sith alchemy, which is basically Sith science, and the modifying of midichlorians, which is that scientific explanation.
Oh, you want to go like how far?
Create
there's Sith sorcerers
and all sorts of weird, crazy voodoo shit.
Like there's literally like Sith sorcerers. There's literally Sith spells. Like you can cast spells as a Sith.
Which is why I say it straddles both fields. It is both science and magic. It straddles both fields.
That's what I hated about the prequels, though, is they demystified a spiritual thing. Like basically, the Force was Buddhism. You know, it was, or Shintoism. You know, everything has a soul. Every inanimate objects have souls. Like that's the Force, and they worked on that really well. And the moment they applied a science to it, it took away that magic component. It said, "Oh, they're just manipulating."
Because then you get like, oh, this person has high midichlorian count. Oh, they had a child. This person also has a high. Like you basically turned it into Star Wars eugenics. See, this is the thing that I love about the sequel trilogy. As much as like, oh, progressive, we need to stop getting away from the Skywalker storyline. Like they literally like they did by calling Rey no one, and then they made her a freaking Palpatine. it's like they took away the bloodlines thing. But I actually think that like the ending, like I'm a bit of the Last Jedi defender, guys. Like it's still crap, but I think
Oh, Nick, you may not be able to stream on Comics League then.
I'm not saying the
I'm not
movie's
inviting
good.
you to any of my personal
Oh,
streams either.
no!
Oh wow! I think Nick just got canceled.
Can I explain myself, please? The movie is still crap, but there is always like nuggets of gold inside every piece of turd.
Yeah,
like
it's
for
the stupid
example,
part.
I think there's a good movie in Spider-Man 3. You know, I said the prequels were good even before it was cool to do so. And in 10 years, when someone else releases an even worse trilogy of Star Wars and people reevaluate the sequel trilogy and call it good, I'm going to be ahead of the curve here. So I'm just telling you how the pattern works.
No one's gonna say that, Nick. No one is going to.
Dude,
I got news for you,
Yeah,
dude.
no,
That
no one is
delude-
going to say that the sequel trilogy was ever good.
That's like Doomcock saying I have private information that Kathleen Kennedy's gonna be fired.
Guys,
no.
In 15 years, when Disney or some other company releases a sequel trilogy that is worse, which we know is going to happen, which is worse, there will be it happened with the prequels. It will happen with Last Jedi, because here's the thing, like the people who grew up with the sequel trilogy are going to defend it, just like the people who grew up with the prequel trilogy always defended it. And there will come a time when something comes out that is like leagues worse, and people go like, you know what? Those movies, they weren't the best.
It's a bell curve.
It's a bell curve, and things are gonna shift.
That's quite a prediction, Nick. Let's see if it works out for him.
No. Nick does have a point, because I grew up with the original trilogy, the one from 77 through 83. And to me, that's the only legit Star Wars movies.
I mean, Chris, like, do you remember before the prequels, Return of the Jedi was the butt of Star Wars. Everyone, like, because I'm a little bit younger than you, but like, I grew up in a prequel world, and I remember like people ragging on Return of the Jedi, Ewoks,
Dude, well, back in the 80s, not only did we not have social media to really amplify the negative voices, but like I remember going to the theater, and I remember seeing some negative reviews or whatever, but like the rage against the Ewoks wasn't as bad, because like they made Caravan of Courage and that other thing. Like they even had a cartoon show on Saturday morning.
They literally had the diabetes guy in one of the movies.
Oh yeah, Wilford Brimley. Yeah. But like it was like, a lot of people do say that Return of the Jedi was the weakest of the three in the trilogy, but overall it didn't destroy the trilogy, meaning that people were like, yeah, I it was okay, it wasn't my favorite, instead of that movie sucked. Which when the prequels came out, after like when I got out of the theater after watching the Phantom Menace, a guy literally pulled his Star Wars Phantom Menace cap off and threw it in the trash as we left the theater. And when I left the theater with my sister watching Attack of the Clones, she goes, why do they let nerds who have never talked to a girl without entering their credit card first write romance lines? I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, you're not like, I don't like the desert. It's sand. And it's not like you're soft. It's like, who thought that was a good idea?
Chris, it gets worse. There are scenes in that movie where she's smiling, where he's smiling at her. She goes, please don't look at me like that. It makes me feel, me feel uncomfortable. And then he's smiling like he's about to like wear her like a lampshade.
About to become a dot on a map. Yeah. And it's
exactly.
like that to me, like that really sucked. And then the third one was not as bad. Like, I mean, as much as I hated the prequels, the third one had some pretty cool stuff in it.
It
wasn't good.
even the most ardent prequel haters will be like, Revenge of the Sith wasn't bad. See, here's the thing about George Lucas. Okay, dialogue has never been a strong suit. Like and Lucas is at its best when he has good collaborators who can tell him no. And the thing you got to realize about the classic trilogy, Lucas was literally working with some of the most talented people in the industry. Like the guy who created Chewbacca's costume literally did the makeup for Planet of the Apes. Like he had world class people working with him, and like people at ILM were incredibly talented. And yes, Marsha Lucas does deserve a lot of credit for her contributions. I think her credit is a little bit overblown in recent times because people so desperately want to woman save Star Wars kind of stuff. Which he's a class act even to this day. Like he responded yeah, this is still George Lucas's vision. He's still George Lucas' work. He'll tell you oh, Marsha Lucas, you saved Star Wars. And she'll tell you, no, I didn't. Like he's proud of her job, but even she will go against it. Like I've seen kind of stuff by her.
Well, have you seen the original script? Like Luke Skywalker was called Mace Starkiller, and it was about basically 50s greasers with their cars, but only it was spaceships, and Biggs Darklighter had a much larger role. That's why it was so weird that his character was given so much credence, yet he was in the film for 2 seconds.
Well, there was a deleted scene. Like there was a whole subplot in the beginning they cut out.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was part of the American Graffiti kind of influences, because George came.
Yeah, the last vestiges of it, because originally the first 20 minutes of the movie was actually supposed to intercut with Luke seeing the thing, so you can see the deleted scenes online. It actually goes to Tossie Station. There's actually a scene where he goes to Tossie Station, meets up with his friends, he talks to Biggs. I actually think the scene with Biggs at the end was only added in the special editions. So Biggs was completely cut out of the original cut of the movie, I believe.
Nick, the question is that when he went to Tossie Station, did he pick up those power converters?
That is a good question.
I'm asking the questions the people deserve to hear. When's that in the next remake?
Did you ever see the picture of Mark Hamill? I guess there was a gas station named Tashi, and he saw it and he pulled over and he did a picture and he's pointing at it. I'm sorry, say what you will about Mark Hamill. He still does care about Star Wars, and sometimes he posts some gems, and that is a great picture.
Mark Hamill is a genuine gem of a human being, and
just don't follow him on Twitter.
Yeah. He's got some political views I strongly
I love where he actually went to someone, don't make me block you, and then someone commented, nothing of value would be lost.
But the thing is, even though I disagree with
the fact
Mark
that
Hamill,
he was sitting on the Last Jedi, he was sitting on the set of The Last Jedi, looking really, really visibly upset, and then him saying, "Yeah, I hate this movie. I don't like it." At the premiere, and then basically Disney bribing him to say, "Yeah, you better tell them that the movie is good."
And even now, he still kind of slips some stuff in.
Well, you remember Bill Murray on the set of that feminist Ghostbusters remake? It looked like a hostage film when he was on the talk show doing the promotional circuits. He's like, "These ladies are the most talented."
I mean, look at just look at what's his name? The guy. He was he wrote the movies. He's one of the Ghostbusters. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Dan Aykroyd or Harold Ramis?
Dan Aykroyd. Look at how Dan Aykroyd, how he talked when it was in promotion, and look at how he did a complete 180 after the movie bombed. He was they went over budget really bad. They didn't do the corrections we did, so I don't think he's gonna be on the Warner Bros. Lot. Also, since we're talking about Ghostbusters, I'm sure thank you, thank you, Vakeman girl. But also I did a post about Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think it's Ghostbusters 2016, and I actually got Paul Feig to respond. So,
oh god,
oh, I remember that. That was hilarious, Nick.
Yes, that thing blew up like crazy. I think I got 30,000 likes, and people were Vankman girl. If we ever do a review of Ghostbusters, we gotta have you on. But yeah. Oh wow. My god, that was Jared, you remember that? Remember when I sent you the picture of that? I had the thing somewhere.
Oh yes. See, here's the thing with that. This is I was watching this and I'm first off, it was Twitter drama involving Nick, so of course. But I looked at it and I was like, Well done, sir. I DM'd him back and I was like, yeah, this is the one occasion where I'll tell you well done.
Yeah, I eventually ended up muting the thread because like people were just getting too stupid.
Yeah.
Like
It was
I don't
Twitter.
regret doing it. The thing that I regret is responding to the trolls. That was my mistake. Like I
That's
think
what you gotta do. Ignore
I
these people.
think
Pick up a bee's hive.
yeah, like I thought I was smart. I'm not.
Dude, I
I'm not
learned
a
this
smart
lesson
man.
the hard way. I put out a YouTube video calling Lois Lane worthless. You can imagine how the Superman fandom reacted.
I will say, if I had to do it all over again, I would still post a meme. The only thing I would do is I would not respond, because like there are some people who they generally liked it, and they generally liked it, and they gave the reasons why they liked it, and that's fine. Like you don't have to hate it. You know like. But there are some people who attack the fans. I wasn't a part. Like the people who were nice about it, I responded in polite manner or just liked it. But like the people who attack the fans, that's what I shouldn't have fed the trolls. That was my mistake.
Oh boy, they're insatiable, dude. They'll come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, especially the Ghostbusters 2016 fans.
I think they're bots, dude. I don't think those are real people.
Maybe, I don't know. Oh, hey Keely, how you doing?
Hey Keely.
But
Can I just say, I think Paul Steak is like, dude's got his head up his ass. Big time. Big time.
So this, yeah, it's good to see you. So we kind of need to wrap this up because we got so shout out to Jared. We'll be doing CLD on his channel at 10, and I kind of need to make dinner. So so yeah,
I need to make dinner too before I do my own live where I'm doing Kingdom Hearts. So
nice.
Yeah.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna from bottom to top. People are gonna say their final thoughts and anything they want to shout out. If there's any links you want me to share, send them in the private chat. I'll post them. So Jared, why do you like Super Wonder?
Because it actually sold. If you look at the comic sales, and when they put him back with Lois Lane, the sales tanked. Okay, so beyond that, jeez, I have CLD tonight. Tomorrow we are reviewing Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, the movie, and I still have to schedule next week's contents, but I can announce that on the 10th of August, Joe M. Sontag is coming on the show to talk about his book Reaper Destroyer.
Awesome, dude.
Oh, he is
Very
a great
nice.
dude, and his art is amazing.
Yes,
that
it
is a
is.
get, brother, and I congratulate you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. But so besides that, I gotta see what else is on the schedule. Not a lot. Just really praying that Star Trek. I almost said Star Trek. Jeez, that Star Wars gets better. I'm tired. Jeez.
Sounds like you need a nap, man.
I probably do. That's right.
Well, you got some time. You can probably get in a good hour before the stream. So, oh, Tear in the Trenches. Nice,
dude. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Nice.
I also got Monster MD with that one.
I will see you all later.
All right. Yep. I will see. Yep. I'll see you on CLD, brother. All right. So now that Jared is gone, screw that guy. I'm kidding. Jared, I don't love you. I love you. Okay. Truth be told, Jared's awesome. I was just being silly. So, Jared, I love you. That is the truth. So Nix, final thoughts. What you would need to say?
No, just group Paul Dig. That's all I got.
All right, Chris, what you got to say? Anything you want to shout out?
Sure. Let's see. Thanks for having me, man. I'm working on my Infinite Tale Chronicles Book 2 fantasy graphic novel series. The book campaign should probably start. I believe I'm going Indiegogo. That should start at the end of this year, sometime in December. But in the meantime, you can head on over to infinitaleChronicles.com and you can check out the first 15 pages for free with my nice little flippy previews. And we're getting some progress, talking to some more artists. Hopefully I'll be able to show off some more art very soon because I'm loving what I'm seeing. And we're getting really close to completion. So yeah. And again, thanks for having me.
Thank you. So Shion, anything you want to shout out? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, of course. I got a couple of things to say. Number one, I do go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays about 8 to 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time.
Watch this man. He's cool.
You can find me at twitch.tv /loremaster_Shiro. Same spelling is shown here, SHIROE. And you'll find me going live tonight playing some Kingdom Hearts. We're hitting up Halloween Town, so that'll be fun. As for last thoughts, do your good part and get those games the way that you can, which for me is via Vimslayer and abandonware.com. I did not tell you that to pirate them. Just get them the way that you can and do your part.
Nintendo looking at like your stack of ROMs and they're like,
"What have you done?"
All right.
Boy, I haven't even
started
yet.
Got some, as for myself. So, Turn Samurai issue 3. It's already kind of gone out to a couple of people, and what I'm really happy is that. All right, cool. What I'm really happy is I have some stuff I got to send to RJ from Critical Blast. We'll be doing that early next week, so the rest of the people should be getting their book soon. That'll be really cool. And we are hard at work on Screecher number 2. The pencils are going really good. I'm literally I'm literally giving you guys a sneak peek here. These are pencils for Screecher 2 done by Brian Q. So like, just look at this. Look at it. Like, oh my god, look at like the line work. That is not something everyone can do.
That is solid line work right there.
Yeah.
Oh, just like look at how it's like, oh my god. And these are pencils, by the way. These aren't even inks yet. So just keep that in mind. And then we have a new challenger. It looks like that's Shiva right there.
Man's out there doing the Lord's work.
Just look at this. Yes. RJ does rock, and then like look at this. Oh my god, just look at this deep. Like, I love the sequence of pages. Look at the chain work. Just like, come on.
Right.
Whew. Oh, and then like, yeah, that's page 14 right there. Okay. So that's page 14, and then Yep, I do have page 15, but I don't have it to share here because it's not on my computer. But yeah, so looking pretty good, would you say, guys?
Yeah, it looks like it's coming along swimmingly, dude.
Hell
yeah. Yep, that one will be hitting Kickstarter this October. Just in time for Halloween. Oh my god, that is high praise because like I'm actually an Arrow fan, so yep. Expect the pre-launch page will be going live in September, and I'm going to be working on the trailer here next month. So, yep, things are going to be going good.
Oh yeah.
Edmonton, that's kind of the point. I actually am going for like a Mortal Kombat vibe, kind of not just with like the art, but like a lot of other things. Like, have you guys seen the cover yet?
No. Care to show?
Yes, I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Yes.
Yes. This is like I've shown this on like my Twitter before, but like take a look at that.
Nice.
Oh yeah, definitely screams Mortal Kombat, which is really cool.
Yeah, creature type.
Yeah, so basically the conceit of this issue is you got that tease towards the end of issue 1 where like my Kathleen Kennedy insert Kathleen. Chris, have you read Screecher?
I backed it. It should be coming. Have not listened to it yet.
What, you never like Screecher was last year?
Yeah, I believe I backed 1 and 2.
No, Screecher. Okay, you're thinking of Torrent Samurai. This is a separate comic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Have you ever read? I can send you a digital copy if you want.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, you'll love it because like the villain is literally Kathleen Kennedy. So, so you got like two, like this is basically she's kind of like a Zuko Catwoman kind of person. They're opposed to each other. Owl meets tiger.
Crouching tiger meets hidden owl.
and shout out to Nefarious Watcher who did the cover art for this. Just look at like he did. Oh my god, he knocked out of the park.
Oh yeah, that
like,
is
look at the detail he put in.
Get over here.
Yeah, there's a lot of frames that are like, oh my god, I would like. Let me see if I can pull up page 15 real quick. I know I posted it in. Yep. Oh my god, yes. Okay, let me just. Actually, I'm gonna save image as, and then save. Okay. All right. Look at this. Like, oh my god. Wait. Am I still? Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like, I was kind of confused for a second because, like, I thought, like, am I still in the stream?
Yeah, we're still live, man.
All right, check this out. Check this out, man.
Nice. Go over
here. Yeah, like literally, you want Mortal Kombat?
Yep.
Is that a kunai attached to a chain?
Rope dart.
Yeah. Oh, rope dart.
But yeah, like I love the way Brian drew this, where he had it like literally coming out of the frame. It kind of adds like this little extra dimension to it.
Yeah.
And like,
that definitely lends it a whole lot more energy than it would otherwise.
Yeah, it's great. Like I cannot wait to see this in color because, like, have you guys seen like like for those who've seen page 1, that's what the colors are going to be for the rest of the book, and you just know how vibrant it was. This is going to be so good. Like, I am so excited, guys. You have no freaking idea.
Oh yeah, this is going to be rad.
So this is coming out in October. If you didn't get issue 1, I will have issue 1. Like, I'll have a catch-up tier and whatnot. So let's kind of put an end on this. Thank you for everyone who stopped by. I really appreciate you. This is actually a really good stream because we got like 7 people here. So everyone who stopped by, thank you. You're awesome. Thank you to my wonderful guests.
Thanks for having me on.
Jared. Thank you for Jared for stopping by. You are always right. That is a rule of the universe. And this has been Nick from the Phoenix Press. And remember, I can only show you the door. You're the ones to walk through it.